This page is the cover of a Japanese magazine focusing on the upcoming Sega Saturn and Super 32X hardware, which are rapidly approaching release. Featured prominently are Sonic the Hedgehog and Knuckles the Echidna, highlighting the innovative lock-on technology of Sonic and Knuckles, allowing it to connect with Sonic the Hedgehog 2 and Sonic the Hedgehog 3 to create new experiences. The magazine announces Sonic and Knuckles is scheduled for release on October 18th. There's also a quick report on the arcade game Virtua Fighter 2, hinting at future possibilities. Other games covered in this issue include The Lion King, Ichidantra, Power Instinct, Mega Man, The Wily Wars, Alien Soldier, and Yu Yu Hakusho, Meikyu Toitsusen, plus Mega CD titles like Lunar, Eternal Blue, Soulstar, Samurai Showdown, and Fatal Fury Special. The issue is clearly looking forward to Sega's next generation of gaming, while covering current major releases. This page delves deeper into the revolutionary Sonic and Knuckles, focusing on the new abilities of Knuckles, the Echidna, and the groundbreaking lock-on system. It highlights Knuckles' unique moves, such as his ability to glide or fly, and his powerful climbing and wall-breaking skills, showcasing screenshots of him in action. The narrative mentions Drive Eggman's Death Egg crashing onto the floating island, and Sonic encountering Knuckles there. The core feature emphasized is the lock-on system, described as a special cartridge technology. This allows players to connect the Sonic and Knuckles cartridge to other Sega Mega Drive cartridges, specifically Sonic the Hedgehog 2 and Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Connecting cartridges adds new features and enhances the gameplay experience significantly, though the Sonic and Knuckles cartridge is also described as exciting on its own. The page visualizes this with images showing the Sonic and Knuckles cartridge attached to both Sonic the Hedgehog 2 and Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Connecting to Sonic the Hedgehog 2 lets you play through that game as Knuckles, while connecting to Sonic the Hedgehog 3 merges the two games into one large adventure, allowing play as Sonic, Tails, or Knuckles. The page also notes a music CD release for the Sonic the Hedgehog series is coming. This page serves as a major promotional announcement for Sonic and Knuckles. It features bold artwork showing Knuckles the Echidna bursting through a zipper effect, and declares this new project will have a global simultaneous start on October 18, 1994. The page prominently features the term lock-on system, describing it as a shocking curtain riser, reinforcing the innovative technology discussed on the previous page. It also confirms the game is for the Mega Drive 2 console, which is also noted as being now on sale or a popular release. This page is clearly designed to build significant anticipation for the game's release date. This page introduces the groundbreaking 3D fighting sensation, Virtua Fighter, making its debut on the Sega Saturn. The striking artwork features the iconic polygonal characters from the game, including Akira, Pi, Wolf, and Cage, set against a backdrop that incorporates the Sega Saturn console itself. The large Japanese text boldly proclaims Virtua Fighter, while accompanying text highlights its capabilities as amazing 64-bit class, positioning the Saturn as a significant leap forward in gaming technology. The familiar Sega slogan, "Welcome to the next level," reinforces this theme of advancement. This page serves as a powerful announcement for the Saturn and its flagship title, showcasing the console's ability to deliver arcade-quality 3D graphics that were revolutionary at the time, moving beyond the 16-bit era championed on the previous page. This page serves as a vibrant announcement for the Sega Saturn, scheduled for a November release. The large text declares the machine is amazing, with a smaller tagline stating, "The machine is coming." The image prominently features the sleek Sega Saturn console alongside eccentric, toy-like characters, including a large-eyed figure with a mustache and several puppet-like automatons. Sonic the Hedgehog, Sega's iconic mascot, is also shown next to the Sega Enterprises logo and contact information. This page builds anticipation for the new hardware, presenting it with a playful and intriguing visual style that suggests the exciting new experiences the Saturn will bring. This page serves as the striking cover for the highly anticipated RPG, Lunar, Eternal Blue. Prominently featured is the mysterious character Lucia, standing tall against a backdrop of the planet Lunar. Below her, the protagonist Hyro is shown alongside other members of his party, including the iconic cat-like creature, Ruby. The title, Lunar Eternal Blue, is displayed across the top, along with the Game Arts logo and the relevant Sega Mega Drive and Mega CD logos, clearly indicating the platform. Vertical Japanese text on the left describes Lucia as a girl who came from the blue star, while the text on the right heralds a new adventure, a new journey. The bottom left includes the price and copyright information, crediting Game Arts and Studio Alex, with character design by Toshiyuki Kubuka. This cover effectively captures the epic scale and character-driven nature of this classic Mega CD title, promising a grand adventure for players. This page showcases Lethal Enforcers 2, the Western, coming to the Sega Mega CD. The dynamic artwork depicts a determined cowboy and a sharpshooting cowgirl locked in action, emphasizing the fast-paced gunfights of the Wild West. Smaller screenshots show off the game's digitized graphics, featuring scenes from a saloon and a rugged mining town, bringing the frontier setting to life. As an arcade port, this is a light gun shooter where players step into the boots of a lawman in the American West, facing down various outlaws. The description highlights the realistic visuals, the tension of the quick draw, and the inclusion of new weapons like cannons and Gatling guns to up the ante from the previous game. The page also includes a humorous warning for youngsters not to imitate the gunplay. It confirms the November release date and pricing options, including a bundle that comes with a dedicated light gun. This page leads with the title, Mega Enthusiasm, Mega, introducing various Sega Mega Drive and Mega CD titles. Prominently featured is a game based on the Star Wars movie series, specifically referencing the first and second films as its foundation. Artwork and screenshots depict space battles with X-Wings and TIE fighters, an Atwalker on a snow planet, and a line of stormtroopers, clearly indicating a game in the style of the Super Star Wars series. The page also showcases A Close Corner Bracket, Dai Hao Shinden, described as a grand SF spectacle RPG, set against the backdrop of 3,000 years of Chinese history. It features character art and screenshots, showing town exploration and landscape views. Finally, the fighting game Fatal Fury Special is highlighted with dynamic character artwork, featuring many iconic fighters from the series. The text proclaims it the pinnacle of fighting, and notes that players can even control boss characters like Geese Howard and Wolfgang Krauser. Fighting screenshots illustrate the gameplay. Both Dai Hao Shinden and Fatal Fury Special are listed for release in December at 8,800 yen. This page dives into the realm of CD gaming under the CD World banner. Featured prominently is Star Wars Rebel Assault, described as the ultimate Star Wars simulation. It brings the cinematic experience with movie cutscenes and sound, letting players step into the role of a rebel new recruit undergoing training, engaging in intense dogfights, and ultimately taking on the Death Star. This impressive title is already on sale for 8,800 yen and is clearly well received. Also highlighted are two major releases coming in December. First up is the groundbreaking fighting game Samurai Showdown. Known for changing the genre with its focus on weapon combat, it features a diverse cast of 12 warriors, complete with a story mode featuring visual scenes, and a flexible versus mode allowing players to pick any character. Get ready to sharpen your blade for its 8,800 yen release. The other is the high-octane 3D shooter Soulstar. This game promises breathtaking 360-degree space combat, featuring a revolutionary transformation system, dynamic polygon graphics, and deep strategic play through weapon and transformation control. It even includes a cooperative mode for 2 players. Look for Soulstar to launch in early December for 8,000 yen. This page showcases the fighting game Power Instinct, known in Japan as Guketsuji Ichizoku. The striking image dominating the page is a fearsome close-up of an older woman, likely the matriarch, or a key character from the game. The text announces a fighting tournament held by the Guketsuji clan every 5 years to determine their next head, drawing combatants from around the world who share the bloodline. Screenshots at the bottom display the game's 2D fighting action, featuring characters like an old man and a ninja battling it out. The page highlights several modes, including a practice/training mode and a karaoke mode. It also notes platform-exclusive features. The Super Famicom version includes original ending visuals and a life attack mode, challenging players to defeat as many opponents as possible with 1 life bar, while the Mega Drive version boasts a unique team-based Battle Royale mode. The Super Famicom version was set to release on October 14th for 10,500 yen, and the Mega Drive version, a 24 megabit cartridge, was scheduled for a mid-November release at a price of 9,800 yen. Both versions were eagerly anticipated releases from Atlas. This page is an advertisement for a school called Yoyogi Animation Academy, focusing on visual arts, animation, manga, games, and voice acting. It features anime-style artwork of a girl and a dragon, and prominently displays a high success rate of 91.6594%. likely representing student outcomes like employment or debut. The ad highlights various courses offered and invites prospective students to attend open house events and free auditions. This page is the exciting cover of the Sega Saturn magazine, boldly announcing its arrival as the next-generation game magazine. It focuses entirely on Sega's new hardware, the Sega Saturn, promising perfect support and information for the next-generation console and its games. The cover features a striking polygonal character, strongly resembling Akira Yuki from Virtua Fighter, one of the key early titles for the system, alongside a clear image of the Sega Saturn console itself. The magazine's launch is highlighted prominently, set for late November, just as the Saturn was making its debut. Published by SoftBank, this cover sets the stage for in-depth coverage of the Saturn era. This page features advertisements for various SoftBank books primarily focused on role-playing games and simulation games. At the top, 2 RPG encyclopedia books are promoted: the Eastern Edition and the Western Edition, both described as reverse lookup monster guides. The Eastern Edition features a blue dragon over an Asian landscape, while the Western Edition shows a red dragon over a castle, highlighting creatures originating from different cultural mythologies, priced at 1,800 yen each. Below, under Game Best Selection, 3 more books are shown. First, The Far Roads to Lord RPG Session Guide, a guide for the domestic tabletop RPG series, covering rules, lore, and play methods, priced at 1,600 yen, depicted with a group of adventurers. Next, The SimCity 2000 Perfect Guide, a comprehensive strategy guide for the popular simulation game, detailing everything from basic city building to advanced scenarios, priced at 1,600 yen, featuring a cityscape and a futuristic vehicle. Finally, a new publication, a replay titled Pendragon Replay, The Search for 3 Spears, based on a popular tabletop RPG magazine serial focused on Arthurian legend, priced at 1,800 yen. A recent publication is also listed, Hurai Academy 108 Mysteries, presenting the background world of this RPG setting in an easy-to-understand queue and a format, priced at 1,500 yen. These books offer resources for both tabletop and video game enthusiasts. This page is the inaugural cover of Game Blast magazine, published by SoftBank, hitting shelves on October 8th and planned for monthly release on the 8th. Priced at 530 yen. The cover story teases in-depth multimedia testing aimed specifically at PC gamers, and a feature on maximizing the use of IBM PC joysticks on the popular PC-98 series. Highlighted games include the latest from overseas, Blues, Chicago Blues, a special report on Brandish 3, and an announcement declaring the revival of RPGs with Lunatic Dawn 2. As a special bonus for this first issue, there's a demo disc included for a 3D robot fighting game called Megaton Arms. The magazine is also running a launch contest, offering a variety of desirable Psyops as prizes. The cover features a striking image of a large spaceship, identified as being from Spaceship Warlock. This page is the cover of Hello PC Magazine, a monthly publication from SoftBank aimed at beginners. This is the second issue, released on October 8th, priced at 390 yen. The main features cover essential topics for PAC users, starting with a focus on portable computing, with an exploration of notebook and sub-notebook PAs. Another major feature delves into the mysteries of Windows, offering basic knowledge and practical techniques. The magazine also includes a beginner's course on Windows, and a preparatory school series for mastering Kanji Talk 7 on Macintosh. New series begin, including PC Hero Legends, and a humorous look at PC mishaps in PC Tahology. There's a breaking news report on new products showcased at Data Show 94. A significant bonus appendix is included, a 40-page full-color guide dedicated to understanding PC peripherals, starting with displays. The cover highlights the magazine's practical approach and support for those new to the world of personal computers, featuring an image of a notebook laptop. This page is an exciting announcement for Mega Man, the Wily Wars on the Mega Drive. Dr. Wily challenges players, asking if they can make it to his mysterious stage. The game compiles the first 3 classic Mega Man titles and adds original elements, offering an experience unique to the Mega Drive. It boasts enhanced graphics and presentation, features like power-ups, and an easy save function, promising escalating fun and intense action. The page features the game's striking box art illustration showing Mega Man, Drive Wily, and a lineup of robot masters from Mega Man 1, 2, and 3, along with Rush and Beat. 2 small screenshots are also included, teasing gameplay. The game was scheduled for release in October at a price of 8,500 yen. This page is the contents page for the November 1994 issue, focusing heavily on the impending launch of the Sega Saturn. A major feature highlights the system's rapid approach, just 1 month away, packed with the latest Saturn information and new photos of the Super 32X add-on. The visual shows a sharp image of the Sega Saturn console and controller, plus a screenshot that appears to be a Saturn interface screen. Beyond the Saturn hype, the page details reports on key games like Sonic and Knuckles, The Lion King, and Ichidantra. There's a strategy special for Yu Yu Hakusho, Makyo Toitsusen, and a roundup of new releases, including Nigel Mansell's World Championship Racing and Captain Tsubasa. The B Mega Hot menu section delivers info on hot titles such as Mega Man, The Wily Wars, Power Instinct, and Alien Soldier. Mega Kid fans aren't left out with news on games like Lunar, Eternal Blue, and Story of Thor, Beyond Oasis, covered in the Sega Megalo Project feature. Other sections cover Game Gear, Neo Geo, reader content, and various columns, giving a snapshot of the exciting Sega landscape in late 1994. This page features a deep dive into the sales trends for Mega Drive, Mega CD, and Game Gear software, analyzing the top 15 performers. The ranking highlights the continued strength of established series, with Langrisser 2 taking the top spot, praised for exceeding expectations after its long wait. Shining Force CD and the evergreen puzzle hit Puyo Puyo also feature prominently in the top ranks, showcasing the popularity of RPGs and accessible puzzle games. The chart includes comments on various titles, noting Dynamite Heady's impressive quality from Treasure and the enduring appeal of Puyo Puyo and its sequel, Puyo Puyo Tsu. The analysis points out that sequels tend to perform well compared to unknown new IPs. The inclusion of J.League Pro Striker games and Super Street Fighter II shows the demand for sports and fighting titles on Sega platforms. Small screenshots accompany each entry, giving a visual taste of the games. Below the console charts, the page shifts focus to the arcade scene, presenting a popularity ranking of the top 5 video games. This section reveals the dominance of fighting games in the arcades at the time, with Virtua Fighter, The King of Fighters 94, Super Street Fighter II Turbo, and Darkstalkers making up the majority of the list, alongside the simulation title Desert Tank. These rankings reflect the popular titles drawing crowds in Japanese arcades. This page delves into what Mega Drive users are hoping for and what they're looking forward to. The top section lists the games users most want to see ported, showcasing a strong desire for titles from arcades, SEGAs, and other consoles. Popular fighting games like Super Street Fighter II Turbo, Art of Fighting II, and Darkstalkers feature prominently, alongside RPGs like Final Fantasy series and Snatcher. The magazine notes that, with the arrival of the Super 32X, better ports of arcade hits like the celebrated perfect port of Space Harrier are becoming a reality. The lower section shifts focus to the most anticipated new games coming to the Mega Drive and Mega CD. This list is topped by eagerly awaited titles like Lunar Eternal Blue on Mega CD, praised for its deep story and use of the CD format, and the highly anticipated Sonic and Knuckles, famous for its unique ability to connect with previous Sonic games. Fighting games continue to be popular here too, with Samurai Showdown appearing in both Mega Drive and Mega CD versions on the list, alongside Fatal Fury Special on Mega CD, noted for its realistic presentation. The list also highlights upcoming action RPGs like Beyond Oasis, and other exciting titles heading to the platform, reinforcing the strong lineup Sega was building. This page shifts focus to the upcoming Sega Saturn, detailing what users want to see ported and what new titles are most anticipated. The top section lists the top 20 games players hope will be ported to the Saturn, heavily featuring arcade fighting game hits like Super Street Fighter II Turbo, Darkstalkers, and Samurai Showdown, alongside popular RPGs and other genres. The article notes that with the Saturn's launch only a month away, data on the new console is starting to appear, and it's interesting how many Mega Drive series are desired for ports. It highlights that ports of major titles like Virtua Fighter 2 and Virtua Cop are well underway. The lower section presents the top 15 most anticipated new games for the Sega Saturn. The list is topped by the highly awaited Virtua Fighter, followed by the racing sensation Daytona USA. Other anticipated titles include SimCity 2000, Blue Seed, tentative versions of Virtua Racing and Echo the Dolphin, and the upcoming Magic Knight Ray Earth and Panzer Dragoon. Clockwork Knight also features, shown with screenshots and a highlight section alongside Blue Seed, indicating their importance. The article mentions that this month's ranking focuses primarily on Sega's own titles, but promises third-party games will feature more prominently soon, emphasizing the high level of anticipation for the Saturn's launch lineup. This page shifts focus back to upcoming Sega Mega Drive and Game Gear software, specifically highlighting two titles released around the end of September 1994. Featured are Tecmo's soccer simulation, Captain Tsubasa, complete with screenshots showing the game's tactical view and character graphics, and Acclaim's action title, Crash Dummies, the big challenge of Slick Boy for the Game Gear, depicted with a scene of the titular dummy navigating a burning building. The page includes insights from various reviewers, offering brief takes on these games and other topics. The reviews for Captain Tsubasa mention the familiarity of the system for fans of the series, and a solid scenario, though some find the tempo slow due to long demo sequences. Crash Dummies is seen as a collection of simple mini-games, noted for its addictive nature despite a perceived lack of depth and disappointing simplicity compared to its appearance. Overall scores for both games are mixed, ranging from 5 to 7 out of 10, reflecting different opinions on their appeal and execution. The page also outlines the magazine's review scoring system and lists game genre abbreviations. The next page features previews and reviews for two upcoming titles. T2. Judgment Day is highlighted as an action game where you become the T-800 from the future to save John Connor. It features 4 stages focused on destroying Cyberdyne and stopping the T-1000. Reviewers found the controls simple, using mostly jump and punch, but the game itself can be tough, especially the later half, earning scores primarily in the 56 range, noting it feels somewhat dated despite the source material. Moldrians, Sisters of Light and Darkness is presented as a full-fledged Game Gear RPG with real-time battles. You play as Navarro, traveling to save his childhood friend. Reviewers praised its solid RPG fundamentals, catchy graphics and scenario despite some dividing opinions on character design and accessible gameplay, though some found it a bit too orthodox. It received favorable scores, including an 8, indicating a strong entry in the genre for the handheld. Commentary sections from various reviewers reflect on the current state of software releases, noting the anticipation for the upcoming Sega Saturn. They mention games from the previous page like Captain Tsubasa and Crash Dummies, alongside Moldrians, suggesting a somewhat quiet month for releases but highlighting Moldrians as a solid recommendation for RPG fans and Crash Dummies for its strange addictiveness. Captain Tsubasa is also praised as a notable release. The B Mega Readers Race is a reader-driven ranking of Mega Drive and Mega CD games. Dynamite Headdy, 5th, receives praise for its treasure-style presentation, engaging BGM, and distinct voice acting, though some found the later stages overly difficult. Langrisser 2, 74th, is lauded for refined systems, compelling story, and graphics, but criticized for excessive text and potentially lacking strategic depth. Gameground, 201st, is noted for its cooperative gameplay, but criticized for its slow pace and small characters. Overall, established titles like Langrisser 2 and Dynamite Headdy consistently rank well, while newer releases face difficulty climbing the ladder, as exemplified by Phantasy Star IV's 5-month top spot. The ranking is based on a reader poll with 10-point ratings. This page of the B Mega Readers Race continues the reader ranking for Mega Drive and Mega CD titles, featuring reviews for games positioned lower in the overall list. Panorama Cotton, ranked 91st, is praised for its visuals and detail but criticized for depth perception issues and difficulty with item collection. NFL Pro Football 94, at 123rd, is noted for improved graphics and presentation over its predecessor, with the ability to play with 4 players being a highlight. Uncharted Waters. New Horizons, coming in at 164th, is seen as a solid follow-up to the original Uncharted Waters, with engaging scenarios for different characters. Pulseman, 179th, receives comments on its flashy appearance, but is described as standard in content, with some leaning towards pattern-based gameplay. The page also highlights 2 important attention games further down the list. Captain Lang, 345th, compared unfavorably to Sonic due to a lack of speed, and T2, the arcade game, 397th, which offers arcade-style shooting, but is criticized for strict clear conditions and reduced impact compared to the arcade version. A section for reader feedback, Voice of the Horse Owner, is also included. This page continues the B Mega Readers Race rankings, focusing on Story of the Mansion of Dreams, Yumemi Yakata no Monogatari, presented using the magazine's famous horse metaphor, complete with race statistics. The review section highlights the game's significant impact as a Mega CD title, particularly its unique visual style and atmosphere, describing it as impressive for its time, even compared to later console graphics. The reviewer shares personal anecdotes, emphasizing the memorable presence of the sister character and the game's overall mood. Further commentary positions Story of the Mansion of Dreams as the second virtual cinema title following Night Trap, praising its striking visual presentation and noting its strong popularity among readers, despite becoming difficult to find. Reader feedback generally commends the game's horror-like direction, ambient music, unique graphics, and voice acting, acknowledging that while gameplay might require some tolerance, the overall player engagement is positive, with anticipation building for the Sega Saturn version. The right side of the page continues the overall game ranking list from previous pages, featuring various Mega Drive and Mega CD titles, with their genres and average reader scores. This page continues the B-Mega Readers Race Rankings on the left side. The main feature is a sharp analysis by a staff writer, focusing heavily on fighting games and the standout title, Fatal Fury Special. The reviewer delves into the nuances differentiating Swank's approach from Capcom's, highlighting Swank's emphasis on impactful special moves and precise input timing, exemplified by Fatal Fury Special. Screenshots showcase the game's vibrant arcade visuals. Further on, the page includes a review of Marble Madness, praising its faithful porting from the classic Atari arcade game to the Mega Drive, emphasizing the simple yet challenging gameplay of navigating a marble through tricky courses. Another section highlights Battlemania 2, marking it as a highly anticipated sequel the reviewer strongly recommends picking up upon release, noting its popularity following the original. Finally, WWF Royal Rumble is briefly touched upon, mentioning the inclusion of real-life wrestling stars as a notable point. This page continues the B-Mega Readers Race, focusing on Sega Game Gear titles. Reader-ranked Game Gear games begin at position 312, Nazo Puyo. Arle's Route tops the Game Gear list with an 8.9032 score, praised for improved gameplay. GG Aleste 2, 8.3484, impresses with graphics and sound, but some criticism exists regarding character designs. Taisengata Dai Senryaku, G, 8.2156, stands out for its deep strategy, despite a simple presentation. Other notable titles include Shining Force Gaiden, Monster World 2, Puyo Puyo, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Aladdin, Mortal Kombat, and Streets of Rage 2. The rankings continue on the next page. This page continues the B-Mega Readers Race Rankings, covering Mega Drive, Mega CD, and Game Gear titles, with lists running down the left and right sides of the page. The featured review section highlights J.League GG Pro Striker 94 for Game Gear, noting its realistic player names and feel but criticizing rough gameplay areas, with a player quote stating, "GG is still the best." The editorial summary touches on the upcoming Sega Saturn, the current state of Mega Drive software, and the potential inclusion of Saturn in future rankings. The page also features prediction games for readers, one guessing the finishing rank of Yu Yu Hakusho, Makyo Toitsusen, and another predicting the reader average score for Mortal Kombat 2, both showing screenshots of the respective games. There's a recruitment section for new participants in the reader race, and an announcement of winners from a previous month who received Might and Magic for Genesis, and a chosen Mega Drive game. Finally, a humorous review covers Sword of Sodan, consistently found in the lowest ranks, playfully dubbing its low score Bakuden, and noting a surge of interest from its fans. This page dives into the latest happenings in the Sega world, kicking off with a report from the AM show. The big news is the confirmation of Virtua Fighter 2 coming to Sega Saturn, generating major excitement. The Sega booth drew huge crowds, showcasing not only the Saturn port, but also Slank's excellent Samurai Showdown 2, and the STV arcade game Golden Axe, The Duel, alongside cutting-edge VR technology. Photos capture the energy at the Sega and SNK booths. For those wanting to get a feel for the action, Virtua Fighter 2 is already available in select arcades and being constantly updated. Sega is also launching Sega Game Station on eBum's People Online network, offering a way to get the latest game information, chat with other fans, and even view gameplay videos. Finally, the page highlights new digital character goods. Sonic and Pac-Man are featured on cool merchandise like wristwatches and stylish hoodies, now available in stores, with more shops planned to open soon. This page covers the latest updates and releases from Sega and partners. First up, there's news on a new, more powerful battery for the Game Gear, offering improved portability and a solid 3.25 hours of playtime from a quick 2-hour charge. In channel news, Sega Digital Communication, SDC, is pushing hard to expand Sega channel adoption via cable TV with a Game Family Declaration campaign, starting in select areas and planning promotions like rentals. There's a report on the completion event for the Mega Drive and Game Gear versions of Puyo Puyo 2, with the key companies involved forming a committee to promote the game. Sega is also partnering on new educational computer products for younger children, featuring the Pico system, as part of a venture with Misawa Home Group. A significant development for Sega Saturn fans is Slank's announcement that they will not be licensing their self-developed arcade titles, specifically starting with King of Fighters 94, for ports to other platforms. This confirms that iconic fighters like KOF 94 will not be appearing on the Saturn, a blow for fighting game enthusiasts looking forward to more arcade ports. Finally, the page announces a new magazine focused on game criticism, aiming to provide deeper, more objective reviews and analysis than existing publications. The new release section lists various CD albums, including soundtrack releases for games like Snatcher, Namco's X-Day, and an arranged album for Shining Force. This page features an interview and sports coverage. The top section presents an interview with celebrity Uno Kanda. She talks about her experiences with games, mentioning owning multiple pairs of slippers from UFO catchers, and enjoying photo simulation games like Love Simulation, where you create virtual children. She humorously recounts getting a handsome virtual son and declaring, "Let's get married," but then getting an oops result when trying for a daughter. She also mentions playing games like X-Day and briefly touching on the Mega Drive and playing with her brother. Her playful and somewhat quirky personality comes through in her comments. Below the interview, the page covers J-League football action under the scene of J-League. It focuses on a match between Jeff United Ichihara and Sanfrecce Hiroshima. The score is shown as 0-0 at full time, going into extra time where Sanfrecce Hiroshima scored the winning goal. The article discusses key moments and particularly focuses on the future of Jeff United, highlighting the potential retirement of prominent player Rui Ramos, and speculating on who will step up as the team's next leader. Photos show players in action during the match. Finally, there's a brief note announcing the winners of a quiz from the October issue of Mega Calcio, who won software and prizes related to the anime film Dark Seed. This page presents a special report on the highly anticipated Sonic and Knuckles for the Sega Genesis. The article reveals the game's revolutionary lock-on system, explaining how the unique Sonic and Knuckles cartridge serves as a base unit. By plugging other Sonic games into the top of the Ace and S cartridge, players unlock entirely new ways to experience the series. Specifically, combining it with Sonic 3 creates what's described as a complete version of that game, addressing previous player feedback and adding new content. More excitingly, the lock-on system allows players to insert the Sonic 2 cartridge and play through the entire game as Knuckles the Echidna. The page also shows that the original Sonic the Hedgehog cartridge can be used, hinting at additional ways to play that classic. This innovative feature dramatically expands the gameplay possibilities across the existing Sonic library. The release is set for October 18, 1994. This page dives deeper into the features of Sonic and Knuckles, emphasizing its standalone appeal while highlighting the revolutionary lock-on system. The main headline boldly proclaims that even if you only care about the continuation of Sonic 3, or if you just have the Sonic and Knuckles cartridge by itself, it's still a great experience with new stages. The page showcases Knuckles the Echidna, focusing on his unique abilities like punching, climbing walls, and gliding. Screenshots demonstrate Knuckles utilizing these moves in both Sonic and Knuckles stages, and, crucially, within levels from Sonic the Hedgehog 2. This highlights the game's key feature. Locking on Sonic 2 allows players to experience the entire adventure as Knuckles, potentially making challenging sections more manageable with his distinct skill set. The article notes that the lock-on system works with Sonic 3 to provide a complete version, and even hints at possibilities when connecting the original Sonic the Hedgehog cartridge. A message from Sega reinforces the significance of the lock-on technology, describing it as a surprising innovation that expands the fun by creating entirely new ways to play existing titles. The page effectively communicates that Sonic and Knuckles is not just a new game, but a platform that breathes new life into the classic Sonic series. This page delves into the audio world of Sonic and Knuckles, featuring an interview with the Sega sound director about the game's music. The interview discusses the creative process, the difference between the Mega Drive version and the arranged tracks on the upcoming music CD, and the inspiration behind the themes for various zones such as Mushroom Hill, Flying Battery, Sandopolis, Lava Reef, and Sky Sanctuary. Also highlighted is the announcement of the first-ever official Sonic music CD release in Japan, featuring all the game's tracks including arranged versions. The page shifts focus to the Sonic World Championship, detailing the recent Japan qualifier event. Photos show the competitive atmosphere at Joycopolis, including the presence of Sonic's creator, Yuji Naka, referred to as Mr. Nakayoshi here, and the victorious Japanese representative, London Kobayashi. It's announced that Kobayashi will compete in the World Championship Final, held on Alcatraz Island, in the USA, on October 9th. This page delivers a special report on Puzzle in Action, Ichidantra, the sequel to the popular arcade title Puzzle in Action, Tantra, announcing its imminent arrival on the Sega Mega Drive. Hot on the heels of its arcade debut, Ichidantra is packed with even more simple, engaging minigames than its predecessor, and notably supports up to 4 players for lively competition. The Mega Drive version features a perfect port of the arcade mode, tasking players with clearing minigames to save a princess. For home console fun, there's the Compete mode, an original battle mode designed for up to 4 players, promising heated matches with its expanded selection of minigames. A significant addition unique to the Mega Drive is the Quest mode, an RPG-like adventure where players explore a world, level up through minigame challenges, and confront villains. Finally, a free mode allows players to practice specific minigames. The porting team emphasized the inclusion of these new modes, especially Quest, to offer unique experiences beyond the arcade original. This page delivers a special report on The Lion King, the Sega Mega Drive game based on Disney's hit summer movie. Presented as Disney's latest game following Aladdin, the report emphasizes the title's impressive character animation, highlighting Simba's movements as a must-see feature that brings the movie's realism to the console. The game follows the film's narrative across 10 stages, with players controlling young Simba in the early levels and adult Simba later on. It details gameplay set in environments like the Pride Lands, where Simba must defeat enemies by jumping on them or roaring, though some enemies like hedgehogs are resistant to certain attacks. Published by Virgin Games, the game was released on December 9th. This page dives deeper into the challenging early stages of The Lion King on Sega Mega Drive. Stage 2, the Elephant Graveyard, depicts Simba being led into this dangerous zone by Scar, only to find it overrun by hungry hyenas. Defeating them requires careful timing of roars and jumps, while navigating the treacherous terrain involves avoiding crumbling ground and traps scattered throughout the stage. Paying close attention to the environment is key here. Stage 3, the Stampede, recreates the harrowing wildebeest stampede orchestrated by Scar and his hyenas. The game presents this iconic scene in a 3D perspective, requiring players to escape the charging herd. Success depends on sharp reflexes, using the directional buttons and jump to avoid being trampled. This stage is a test of pure survival skill. Stage 4, Simba's Exile, follows Simba's departure after his father's death. This stage is set in a difficult thorny forest outside the main jungle. It's a tough environment, with narrow paths and constantly falling rocks, making stopping almost impossible. The latter part of this stage features continuous sequences, like crossing precarious ledges, making it quite challenging for players not accustomed to intense action platforming. The report notes that the game features over 10 stages, and is divided into 2 parts, reflecting Simba's journey. This includes meeting Timon and Pumbaa later on. The game's background music is directly from the Lion King movie soundtrack, aiming for an atmosphere distinct from Disney's previous Aladdin title, promising a unique experience. This page kicks off a new release scramble, highlighting 2 diverse titles for the Sega platforms. First up is Nigel Mansell IndyCar, a racing game focusing on the British champion's successful foray into IndyCar racing. It features all 15 tracks from the IndyCar season, allowing players to experience the full championship or single races, complete with detailed car settings and pit stop mechanics. The reviewer specifically calls out the 2-player split-screen mode as the way to play, suggesting competitive racing is key. Below that is Captain Tsubasa for the Mega CD. This is the 5th game in the popular soccer series, building on the established formula but updating the rules to reflect more modern soccer, offering a fresh experience for fans. While initially a command selection simulation, gameplay with the ball feels more like a traditional soccer game, creating a semi-real-time experience. The Mega CD version adds demo and narration features. Both games are presented as 100% complete releases. A new Sega release scramble is highlighted, featuring the minigame collection Mina in Wonderland, with 11 games, story mode, and free play. Other upcoming Sega titles include SimCity 2000, a complete Virtua Fighter 2 arcade port, and the 3D action game Bug. For the Saturn, a Virtual Racing Saturn port, Puyo Puyo, Tom and Jerry Shanghai, Great Wall of China, and Idol Janshi Suchipai Special, Sega's first adult-themed game, are also mentioned. Early news also teases a Mega Bomberman release. The release schedule promises a diverse range of software for Sega systems. This page dives deep into the Sega Mega Drive fighting game, Yu Yu Hakusho, Battle of the Spirit Detectives. The main focus is on the powerful character, younger Toguro, detailing his fighting style, which is described as big, bold, and high impact, though with some defensive gaps. The content is structured around a menu, first explaining younger Toguro himself, followed by a section on super spirit attacks, which are described as one-hit reversal moves available to each character, hinting that some are newly revealed. There's also a humorous segment titled Minor Character Kuwabara, Strongest Enhancement Plan, suggesting a strategy or guide focused on improving the effectiveness of the often underestimated Kuwabara. The page provides game information, noting it's an action game from Sega, supporting up to 4 players with the Sega Tap. It also teases strategy content, mentioning completing a strategy guide by cutting and pasting from previous issues. The lower section breaks down younger Toguro's special moves, with input commands and descriptions, including his ranged finger bullet attack, the defensive roar, forward dashing punches, and his powerful jumping twin-arm iron palm, explaining their uses and weaknesses. This page continues the deep dive into the Sega Mega Drive fighting game, Yu Yu Hakusho, Battle of the Spirit Detectives. The focus here is entirely on the game's most powerful attacks, known as Super Spirit attacks. These are described as hidden secret moves, capable of turning the tide of battle, but they come with strict conditions. Your health must be below half, and your spirit meter must be nearly full. Executing one consumes almost all your spirit power, but their immense power far surpasses normal special moves. The page showcases these ultimate moves for 10 different characters from the roster: Yusuke, Kuwabara, Sensui, Chu, younger Toguro, Kurama, Hiei, Itsuki, Jin, and elder Toguro. Interestingly, while all 10 are shown with screenshots of their super spirit attacks, the actual input commands are only revealed for 4 characters: Yusuke, Kuwabara, Kurama, and Hiei. The commands for Sensui, Chu, younger Toguro, Itsuki, Jin, and elder Toguro are kept secret, encouraging players to discover them. This structure adds a layer of mystery and challenge for players looking to master the game's most devastating techniques. This page presents a special project focused on elevating the character Kuwabara in Yu Yu Hakusho, Battle of the Spirit Detectives. Initially perceived by the writers as merely a grunt character, the challenge was to determine if he could become genuinely strong. The article lays out a week-long training regimen, dedicating each day to mastering a specific aspect of gameplay. Day 1 focuses on basic controls and consistent defense, relying on only 3 buttons. Day 2 delves into utilizing the backstep and strategic line movement for positioning and dodging. The third day emphasizes attacks with minimal recovery frames, while Day 4 introduces special normal attacks executed with directional inputs. Day 5 covers exploiting invincibility frames, and Day 6 teaches chaining moves and canceling attacks into combos, such as crouching weak attacks and specific directional inputs. The final day reveals Kuwabara's 6th Super Spirit attack, Challenge, activated by pressing A, B, and C simultaneously. Screenshots throughout the article demonstrate Kuwabara executing various moves against opponents like Yusuke, Hiei, Kurama, Sensui, and younger Toguro. While the project concludes that Kuwabara wasn't able to reach the absolute peak of strength, he significantly improved with these techniques. The article hints at a potent hidden technique discovered but not fully detailed. A side column briefly mentions differences in game visuals and endings between hard and super difficulty levels, and the unlocking of a new mode. This page features the BeepLand reader contribution section, specifically the Beep's Mega Talk column, hosted by DJ Pana. It's a lively interaction space where readers share their thoughts, questions, and experiences, and Pana responds. The column covers a variety of topics, many related to gaming. One reader mentions seeing the magazine's previous feature on MegaDrivers and asks if Pana considers themselves one. Another shares a humorous anecdote about buying a Puyo Puyo item and getting a receipt that mistakenly said Dragon Quest goods, leading to a discussion about confusing the Puyo Puyo slimes with Dragon Quest slimes. A reader talks about playing Final Fantasy VI and surprisingly enjoying it, prompting Pana to comment on how people in the game industry can't avoid such titles. There's also a report from a reader who found classic games like Vacey Fantasy and Woodstock, among others, in a department store. Crewball, the Mega Drive pinball game, is also mentioned by a reader who recently purchased Sorcery. The anticipation for the Sega Saturn is noted in the introductory text. This month's BGM section offers a curated list of recommended music, blending classical pieces by composers like Chopin, Tchaikovsky, and Vivaldi, with game themes, including various tracks from Puyo Puyo and other unidentified themes. It's a mix of high culture and gaming culture, typical of the magazine's style. This page features reader feedback in the Mega Use section, focusing on the Sega Saturn controller. The main debate revolves around whether the system should include one or two controllers out of the box. Readers argue that key launch titles like Virtua Fighter and Victory Goal, known internationally as Sega Worldwide Soccer 95, are best played with two players, making a single bundled controller inconvenient and requiring additional purchases. Concerns are raised about the cost and hassle of buying a second controller separately. The consensus among many contributors is that two controllers are essential, especially considering the success of past consoles that facilitated multiplayer immediately. The page also includes the Memory of MD section, a collection of reader-submitted artwork and memories celebrating the Mega Drive. This section features charming illustrations ranging from Sonic the Hedgehog to representations of older Sega consoles like the SG-1000 and Master System, showcasing the fans' enduring affection for Sega hardware. A brief note previews the next issue's theme on the 32-bit generation. This page features a lively reader feedback section titled R's Voice, Industry, Game, Speak Your Mind, where fans weigh in on the current state of the game industry, particularly focusing on Sega's systems. Readers express opinions ranging from the marketing of the Sega Saturn, comparing its visibility to the Super Famicom, SNES, to specific game requests. There's notable appreciation for Namco for porting Starblade, and a strong plea to Capcom to bring Night Warriors, Darkstalkers Revenge to the Sega Saturn. Another section, Your Voice Changes MD, invites readers to share their thoughts and ideas related to the Mega Drive. The page also showcases fan creativity in Illustration City, featuring diverse artwork including characters from Darkstalkers, the Shining series, Monster World IV, and even a charming comic strip personifying Sega consoles like the Mega Drive, Saturn, and Super 32X. A final small section, A Word from Beeple, provides brief, personal comments from readers. The overall sentiment reflects a community deeply engaged with Sega's hardware transition and eager to see their favorite games on the new platforms. This page presents the results of the character design contest for the Aim for the Game Utopia project, based on the main characters revealed in the September issue. The response from readers was overwhelmingly positive, with many submissions exceeding expectations in quality. The page showcases some of the winning entries from talented individuals across Japan. Featured designs include dynamic characters from Hokkaido's Taro Takeda, influenced by a certain big title RPG, intricate fantasy groups by Osaka's Professor Moriarty, and unique martial arts and chained weapon users from Chiba's Fusayuki Wataguchi and Miyagi's Reiji Hatakeda, whose styles are compared to Gunhei. There's also a mix of cute and standard fantasy characters from Nara's Kutayazuka. Each entry is rated based on drawing skill, individuality, and detail/complexity, using a letter grading system. Reviewers offer brief commentary on the strengths and influences of each design. The project's next step is to recruit potential game titles that could utilize these newly chosen character designs. This page offers a collection of reader contributions and lighthearted features. The Recommended Software by Fetish section humorously explores character appeal, focusing on skeletons in games like Mortal Kombat, Wonder Boy in Monster World 4, and Toe Jam and Earl. Another section, titled This Is Ass, comically highlights appealing character rear ends, specifically mentioning Tyrese from Golden Axe. The Truth About MD Rumors touches on gossip surrounding Mortal Kombat 2 characters, and industry buzz between Sega and Sony. There's a short comic strip featuring characters discussing the Mega Drive and 32X. A Reader Essay Corner shares a humorous anecdote about a medicine mix-up. A new column, Defiant Wife, is introduced for married female gamers. The page also includes general information and submission details, along with a correction about Mortal Kombat 2's Continue system. This page features a special report detailing a visit by well-known voice actress Megumi Hayashibara to Sega headquarters. She was there to check out an upcoming Sega 32X game for a magazine report, highlighting the busy atmosphere at Sega as they prepared for the imminent launch of the Sega Saturn. The article includes photos of her visit, showing her arriving at Sega HQ and even checking out one of the staff's desks piled high with work. There's also a smaller section focusing on her recent work, specifically mentioning the Blue Seed anime series, noting its detailed art, and hinting at a game adaptation being in the works. The page also includes reader contributions. One section showcases entries from a fan art contest based on the game Sword of Sodan, where readers submitted their interpretations of characters from the terror aspect of the game. Another reader corner is dedicated to highlighting favorite masterpiece games. One entry champions Lord Monarch, a strategy game described as a hidden gem that, while hard to find, is highly praised by those who know it and is considered a true masterpiece. The next page continues the report on voice actress Megumi Hayashibara's visit to Sega. It highlights her experience playing versus R Deluxe on the Super 32X in a return match against Sega staff. After some practice, she played a match against one of the staff members, resulting in 2 wins, 1 loss. Hayashibara's victory, showcasing her surprising skill. The article includes photos of her playing and interacting with the staff. She is quoted expressing her amazement with the Super 32X's visuals, saying, "Super 32X is amazing, but I don't know," reflecting the initial confusion some had about the new hardware. The page also features a cartoon commentary section called Rakugaki Sega, giving updates on the imminent Sega Saturn release, highlighting its appearances at recent shows. It mentions that demos running on actual hardware, like Virtua Fighter, Clockwork Knight, and Panzer Dragoon, are proving very popular, with Virtua Fighter being described as arcade perfect. The section also briefly touches upon the Super 32X port of Space Harrier. Other section, Fukazawa's Gioi Club, appears to be a reader or fan club corner providing Sega information, including arcade updates, and a video corner showcasing previews of upcoming software. It also mentions a phone service offering details on games like Sonic and Tails and Sonic and Knuckles. Finally, there's a call for reader submissions for planning, ideas, questions for Sega, messages for Megumi Hayashibara, and contributions to the Gioi Club. It mentions a contest where submitting a postcard could win you Sega software or goods. This page presents a detailed strategy guide for the intense run-and-gun game, Alien Soldier, straight from the developer, Treasured. It focuses on how to tackle some of the game's most difficult boss fights and enemy types. The guide provides specific tactics, explaining how to use Epsilon Eagle's transformation effectively, time attacks, and position yourself to avoid devastating enemy patterns. It covers strategies for multiple challenging encounters, highlighting weak points and necessary maneuvers, like time jumps and reflector usage. The content emphasizes the demanding nature of Alien Soldier, offering developer-approved methods to overcome its punishing difficulty. This page features a diverse collection of content related to gaming culture. Starting with a humorous, rubbish English course, hosted by Penelope H. Sensei, it teaches English phrases using examples that seem inspired by gaming reactions like, ouch, and oops, and even referencing using jelly beans to recover health, likely from Dynamite Headdy. Next up, we get excited news about the official soundtrack CD release for Dynamite Headdy. Nadzo Squared Suzuki, the sound composer, talks about his experience recording guitar for the tracks, and amusingly notes the lack of calluses on his hands compared to the mental strain of thinking about his wife. Akisuke Hata also shares his thoughts on the OST, referencing specific characters and moves from the game like Headdy, the Sky Sword Cancel, and Rose Whip, while expressing some creative anxieties. Finally, the page includes a Chibiman gallery, showcasing reader fan art, featuring drawings of characters like Hetty, various figures including Bart Simpson, and characters from Puyo Puyo, and even Hiei from Yu Yu Hakusho, reflecting the popular fighting game times of the time. The magazine invites readers to send in their postcards for a chance to be featured, and potentially receive a gift from Treasure, particularly encouraging submissions related to games like Dynamite Hetty. This page is a mail-order catalog from the store Santa, listing prices for a wide variety of Sega Mega Drive, Mega CD, and Game Gear games and accessories available for purchase. This page is an advertisement for the official soundtrack CD for the Mega Drive classics Sonic and Knuckles and Sonic the Hedgehog 3. It prominently features a striking graphic of Sonic and Knuckles' faces merging within a ring. The ad announces the highly anticipated first CD release of music from both games, specifically highlighting tracks from when the cartridges are locked together. It lists the release date as October 19th, and details that the CD contains a total of 12 tracks, including a medley and arranged songs. The track listing includes themes like Mushroom Hill, Flying Battery, Sandopolis, Lava Reef, Sky Sanctuary, and Death Egg, along with boss themes and remixes, capturing the iconic sound of these combined titles. It notes the music is newly recorded based on the original game scores. This page serves as a comprehensive catalog and advertisement for a game shop called Bullseye, highlighting various deals and offerings for Sega's systems. The top banner proclaims that game consoles themselves are a great value this month. A section titled, Great Recruitment, announces a competition, inviting readers to submit illustrations or short essays about games featured on the page, with the prize being free game software. The page then details numerous games available at different bargain price points for Mega Drive, Mega CD, and Game Gear. It prominently features a Best Selection section, recommending specific titles. Noteworthy recommendations include Sonic and Knuckles, shown alongside a screenshot now available at a discount, and Dragon Slayer, The Legend of Heroes, also with a screenshot, presented as a valuable RPG for beginners. Another recommended title is Kutetsu Maru Senki. Beyond discounted games, the page lists upcoming releases available for pre-order, such as Power Instinct, Samurai Showdown, and Puyo Puyo 2, indicating expected release windows in the coming months. It also offers a wide array of accessories for all three systems, including controllers, cables, and adapters. Finally, the page provides detailed ordering information, contact numbers, and store addresses. This page is a special feature highlighting the imminent launch of the Sega Saturn, now just 1 month away in late November. It's packed with the very latest information on the Sega Saturn and new screenshots for the Super 32X. The feature focuses on upcoming Sega Saturn software, specifically mentioning the groundbreaking fighting game Virtua Fighter, which is rapidly increasing in completion. It also provides a full report on the Sega Saturn hardware itself, details which had been kept under wraps until now. With the countdown to Sega's next-generation machine's debut officially underway, alongside the Super 32X, the page emphasizes the importance of not missing this crucial last-minute information. The layout prominently displays the polygonal characters from Virtua Fighter and includes various screenshots showcasing anticipated games on both the Saturn and 32X, covering genres like racing, fighting, adventure, and more. This page continues the special feature on the impending launch of the Sega Saturn. Following up on the previous page's announcement, it provides a hands-on look at the Sega Saturn hardware itself, previously kept under wraps. The article details the console's structure, highlighting its capabilities beyond just gaming, such as playing music threads, CDG discs, offering karaoke features with voice cancel, and surround sound adjustment, presenting it as a multimedia machine. Expansion is discussed, noting the cartridge slot and planned options like video CD, MPEG, and a communication modem. The new Sega Saturn controller is introduced, featuring an 8-button design that adds L and R buttons to the familiar Mega Drive style, improved size for comfort, and support for detailed operations like music playback controls. An optional second controller is also mentioned for Versus Play. The article briefly covers the console's front panel with its 2 controller ports and the back panel detailing various connections. The page reinforces the late November launch timeframe for the Sega Saturn. This page continues the in-depth look at the Sega Saturn as its launch approaches. We get a detailed view of the console's cartridge slot, confirming support for traditional room games, but emphasizing its primary role for future expansion modules like video CD, photo CD, and memory packs. The back panel is shown, highlighting the power input, AV output, using a new Saturn-specific cable, and an expansion port similar to the Game Gear's. A hidden second slot on the back suggests future peripherals might require extra depth. The Saturn's built-in control panel is a significant feature, offering robust CD player functionality with advanced options like voice cancel for karaoke and pitch control, surround sound powered by the DSP, internal memory management, and detailed user settings including language selection, supporting multiple languages like English, and date/time setup. The page also introduces essential peripherals: a racing controller expected with Daytona USA, a virtual stick arcade controller, the Sega Saturn mouse launching with Myst, and the multi-terminal 6 multitap for multiplayer games like Victory Goal. These accessories demonstrate the console's intended versatility. This page announces the upcoming release of the V-Saturn on November 18th, manufactured by Japan Victor, JVC. This new console is described as being fully compatible with the standard Sega Saturn, essentially a twin machine with the same specs and shape, but featuring a distinctive two-tone body color and slightly different switch colors for a more fashionable look. The article notes that JVC, who previously sold the Wonder Mega, a Genesis Mega CD hybrid, is entering the Saturn market with this machine, which will be priced similarly to the standard Saturn. Sales are expected to primarily occur at electronics stores and toy stores. The page also features an interview with Mr. Toshiyoshi Endondo, General Manager of Home Appliance and Information Media Business at Hitachi. He discusses Hitachi's involvement in the Saturn's development, specifically providing the main CPU SH2 and SH1 and their future multimedia projects. Hitachi is focusing on software development, including creating a joint venture for digital content creation and talent training, and sees a future where TVs integrate CPUs to display diverse information, building on their experience with the Saturn hardware and future expansions. This page delves into the perspectives of Japan Victor, JVC, and Yamaha, key partners in the Sega Saturn project. The first interview features Mr. Junichi Izaki, General Manager of the AV Amusements Business Promotion Department at Japan Victor. He discusses JVC's deep involvement, outlining 7 major areas of contribution, including the development and manufacturing of the double-speed Creedrom drive, input on system specifications, image compression technology, authoring tools, and software production and sales, particularly for their own V-Saturn console. He emphasizes their expectation for the V-Saturn to become a widely adopted platform, leveraging their expertise to ensure performance and reliability. A picture shows Mr. Izaki and the V-Saturn hardware. Following this is an interview with Mr. Yoshinori Kitamura, General Manager of the Multimedia Development Room at Yamaha. He focuses on Yamaha's role, primarily supplying the sound chip and contributing to the overall system design. He expresses confidence in the sound capabilities of the Saturn's audio source and the potential for the platform to facilitate new interactive music experiences. Mr. Kitamura highlights the importance of MIDI support and the integration of visual elements, suggesting that the Saturn can allow people to experience music in a new way, essentially increasing the number of people who can have a music simulation experience. An image of Mr. Kitamura and a Yamaha synthesizer, likely representing the technology used, is featured. This page features a special interview with the sound development team from Sega AM2, including Mr. Takayuki Nakamura. They discuss the sound capabilities of the Sega Saturn, highlighting its superiority over other home consoles and even surpassing some arcade systems. The developers touch upon creating the sound for hits like Virtua Fighter and Daytona USA. They explain that the Saturn version of Virtua Fighter will feature arrangements from the arcade game, aiming for an even better sound experience. While acknowledging memory limitations as a challenge, they emphasize the power of the Saturn's built-in DSP, digital signal processor, which offers high flexibility for effects and the ability to combine synthesized sound with CD audio. A sidebar details the Saturn's key sound specifications: a Yamaha sound chip, support for 44.1 kHz 16-bit samples, up to 32 simultaneous voices, flexible FM synthesis routing, 4 MB of RAM, and high degree of freedom effects via DSP. Although the arcade Model 1 board had more voices, 56, the Saturn's ability to stream BGM from CD frees up its 32 voices specifically for effects and other sounds, giving it an advantage. The developers note that while FM synthesis routing is complex, the overall sound design is forward-looking and capable of creating a vast range of sounds. This page delves further into the Sega Saturn's sound capabilities through an interview with members of Sega AM2's sound team, including Takeshi Mitsuyoshi, known for his musical contributions to titles like Daytona USA, Glock, and R360. The developers discussed the differences between the Saturn and arcade sound hardware, explaining that while arcade boards often have more dedicated memory, the Saturn overcomes this by streaming background music directly from the CD, freeing up its internal sound resources for effects and voices. They detail the sound production for the Sega Saturn version of Virtua Fighter, noting that while it uses the arcade's core sound data, it is enhanced with CD audio, with Mitsuyoshi himself playing guitar on some tracks. Looking ahead to Virtua Fighter 2, they reveal that the music will be entirely new for each stage, with a potential hard rock influence based on the director's preferences. The page also highlights the integral roles of Sega's digital studio, used for recording and editing, and the AM sound team, emphasizing their importance in creating the distinct Sega sound. The page includes screenshots showcasing gameplay from Daytona USA and a character matchup between Akira and Cage in Virtua Fighter. A section invites readers to submit their opinions and requests directly to the sound team. This page brings huge news about the Sega Saturn version of Virtua Fighter, announcing its near completion and release date in late November, coinciding with the Saturn console launch. It showcases the latest screenshots, confidently stating that the game is almost identical to the arcade original. The article highlights significant graphical improvements, including an increased polygon count compared to earlier builds, and praises the smooth movement and controls. A fascinating timeline section illustrates the game's development progress from May to September 1994, with accompanying screenshots showing the graphical evolution. By September, the game was declared 99% complete, with the Daytona USA team even joining to assist, resulting in a version that closely replicates the arcade experience in terms of visuals, controls, and sound effects. The page confirms that players will soon be able to enjoy characters like Akira, Pai, Jackie, and Cage on their home consoles, with faithful reproductions of the title and replay screens also shown. This page features a special interview with Keiji Okuyasu, the chief producer for the Sega Saturn version of Virtua Fighter, discussing the game's status as it nears completion. He explains the challenges of porting the arcade classic to the new Sega Saturn hardware, but highlights the team's dedication to perfecting character movements, balance, and sound to deliver a faithful experience. Okuyasu mentions specific work on characters like Dural. The article is accompanied by several new screenshots of the Sega Saturn version, including its advertisement demo showcasing various characters like Sarah, Cage, Wolf, Akira, and Pei, along with a gameplay shot of Pain fighting Dural. These visuals demonstrate the progress made and the close approximation to the arcade graphics. The page also confirms that a port of Virtua Fighter 2 for the Sega Saturn has been officially decided. This page continues the coverage of the Sega Saturn version of Virtua Fighter, declaring that the exhilarating feeling is now indistinguishable from the arcade original. The article confirms that the collision detection is complete and all characters are now playable, showcasing how closely the Saturn port mimics the arcade experience, including sound effects and character voices. Several screenshots display the game in action and highlight the faithful recreation of special moves and win poses. The page then features two key characters, Akira Yuki and Pai-chan. For Akira, the main protagonist, his powerful Bajiquan style and signature moves like the Tetsuzanko are highlighted, with screenshots demonstrating his impactful strikes and combination potential. Pai is described as graceful and speedy, with her in Shinryu style effective against CPU opponents. The text notes her need for technical play against humans, due to fewer low/mid attacks, but showcases her key techniques like the combination back kick and Thunder Beast palm strike through screenshots. Finally, 2 points of focus are detailed. First is an original feature for the Saturn version, the rank certification mode, where players can earn ranks based on their skill, similar to martial arts rankings. Second is the game's music. While the arcade BGM is included, certain tracks like Jeffrey's Stage and the Character Select Screen BGM have been specifically arranged for the Saturn, with options to switch between original and arranged music. This page continues the deep dive into the Sega Saturn version of Virtua Fighter, highlighting its near-perfect translation of the arcade experience. The responsiveness and feel are praised, along with the faithful recreation of character coloring in arcade backgrounds. The article notes that even moments like the "You Lose" screen after a timeout, featuring a crying character, are included, adding unique flair to the home version. The page then breaks down key moves for several fighters. Akira's signature moves, like the devastating Tetsuzanko and its variation Kakushi Senrin, are shown with step-by-step screenshots, emphasizing their power. Pai-chan's technical throws and counters, such as the Ensen Heryu and Senpu engine, are illustrated, showcasing her versatile grappling abilities and highlighting tactics like using a mid-kick against a crouching opponent. The Q&A section addresses common player questions. It's confirmed that Cage's mask removal scene, a classic arcade feature, is indeed present in the Saturn version, though the method for triggering it is different. The game allows players to adjust the CPU difficulty, offering multiple levels of challenge. While the character order in the standard arcade mode is fixed, the ability to set comm strength in the options menu provides ample opportunity for players to practice and improve at home. This page continues the deep dive into Virtua Fighter on the Sega Saturn, shifting focus to three more distinct combatants. Lao Chan, a formidable martial artist, is highlighted for his powerful combinations and ability to juggle opponents. Key techniques featured include the Ensen Kyaku and Reka Kosen Kyaku, showcasing his agile kicks. Next up is Wolf Hawkfield, the Canadian professional wrestler, known as a master of throws. His section details his speed and rushdown tactics, emphasizing close-range punches and uppercuts, leading into devastating grappling attacks. The body slam and sonic uppercut are shown as signature moves. Finally, Jeffrey McWild, the powerful heavyweight from Australia, is introduced. Like Wolf, he excels in throws but also utilizes strong rush attacks such as elbows. His section notes his numerous ways to throw a crouching opponent and highlights the toe kick hammer and body lift techniques as examples of his raw power. The page concludes with a Q and a Part 2 for the Saturn version. It addresses player inquiries, confirming that the time limit is adjustable via options, from 10 seconds to unlimited, and that button configurations can be customized. It mentions that the idea of changing ring sizes is currently under review, and clarifies that the home version will not feature a CG opening movie, but does include modes like sudden death, as shown in a screenshot. This page dives deeper into the moves of several fighters in the Sega Saturn version of Virtua Fighter. It starts with Kagemaru, showcasing throws like the Yanagi Guruma, Willow Wheel, a move effective for ringouts. Next up is Wolf Hawkfield again, highlighting his powerful grappling techniques. The double arm suplex is shown, a strong throw against crouching opponents, and the German suplex, a signature move when positioned behind the opponent. Finally, Jackie Bryant's unique throws are featured. The Iron Claw, a standing throw, and the Machine Gun Knee Lift, a command throw that is difficult to perform but devastating when successful, are presented. The page concludes with Q and a Part 3 for the Saturn release. Players ask about using the final boss, Dural, which is stated as unlikely to be available from the start due to the fixed character select screen, though color options are being considered. It's confirmed that players can use the same character against each other in versus mode. Regarding the replay feature, it's clarified that only key moments, not the entire match, will be replayed, sticking to the arcade concept. A question about including the Virtua Fighter 2 intro is answered negatively, though the opposite might be possible later. Screenshots show various moves and a knockout against Dural. This page continues the focus on Sega Saturn titles, delving deeper into the moves and strategies for several key fighters in Virtua Fighter. It covers Kagemaru, highlighting his throws and counterattacks like the potent Ryue Kyaku for ringouts. Next, Sarah Bryant's aggressive style is detailed, showcasing her powerful strikes and combo potential, including the double joint pad and neck breaker. Finally, Jackie Bryant's dynamic kicks and spinning attacks are presented, such as the dash hammer kick and leg slicer, emphasizing his ability to instantly kill opponents with well-timed attacks. Screenshots illustrate these various moves in action. The page also provides an update on the development of Daytona USA for the Sega Saturn. Development is reported as progressing smoothly, with the AM2 team receiving support from the arcade staff. The article notes that the beginner course is implemented and highlights the impressive feature of 44 other cars appearing on track simultaneously, along with detailed textures. Release date and price are still listed as undecided. The next page continues the deep dive into Sega Saturn's lineup, specifically highlighting more combat techniques in Virtua Fighter. Building on the previous page's coverage, it showcases character-specific moves, like Cage's powerful throws and attacks aimed at ringouts, Sarah's signature techniques including the double joint pad and combo somersault, and Jack Eckley's effective combo elbow spin kick, demonstrating various offensive strategies. Screenshots illustrate these dynamic moves, featuring intense moments between fighters like Cage and Akira, Sarah and Pei, and Jackie and Lau. Further down, the page provides an exciting update on the development of Daytona USA for the Sega Saturn. The focus is on the significant visual improvements with the introduction of textures, specifically noting their application to the course environment, including the famous Sonic wall. Screenshots display the textured tracks and multiple race cars on screen, emphasizing the progress in bringing the arcade experience home. The article mentions ongoing work on designing more car models and notes the game's promising development, contrasting it with the recently shown Ridge Racer on PlayStation and building anticipation for Daytona USA's Saturn release. This page continues our look at the exciting Sega Saturn lineup, focusing on an incredibly unique title called Tama. This action game from Time Warner Interactive, formerly Tengen, is described as a game where you tilt the Earth rather than the company, emphasizing a novel concept different from typical action RPGs like Landstalker or puzzle games like Sokoban. Instead, Tama is all about manipulating a miniature garden environment, tilting the world to roll a ball, Tama, towards a goal. It draws comparisons to the classic Marble Madness, promising a tactile sense of control that makes you feel like you're physically holding the level. Screenshots showcase diverse environments like an iceberg, field, graveyard, and rocky mountain, hinting at varied challenges and level designs. The article notes the game's innovative design and suggests a dedicated controller or even a trackball might enhance the experience. It also clarifies that Time Warner Interactive is the new identity for Tengen in Japan, confirming that Tengen's distinct game development style will continue under the new name. A brief backstory mentions a world of sentient balls and a conflict with an evil ball. This page continues our look at the burgeoning Sega Saturn lineup, featuring a couple of interesting titles across different genres. First up is Race Drivin', making a return after being planned but never released for the Mega Drive. This isn't just a simple port, it's a serious upgrade featuring super smooth polygon graphics and much more detailed textures, a true showcase for the Saturn's capabilities. Time Warner Interactive is behind this one, and it promises added courses and cars compared to earlier versions. The screenshots show off diverse environments, from a desert finish line to a city drive. And yes, it brings back those signature stunts like dizzying loops and challenging roads. They've really upped the ante on course design here. Moving on to a completely different kind of game, we have Mahjong Goku Tenjiku. It's great to see the Saturn isn't just about 3D action. Traditional Japanese games are getting love too. This is a Mahjong title based on the classic Chinese novel Journey to the West. You get to pick one of the main characters like Son Goku or Zhu Baji to play as. The game focuses on offering an authentic Mahjong experience with detailed rule customization, positioning itself as a serious game for fans of the genre, rather than relying on cheap tricks. It looks like a solid entry for Mahjong players looking for a real challenge on the Saturn. The next page dives into Clockwork Knight, a 3D action title for the Sega Saturn. This article is excited about the game's full use of 3D CG, which enables unique characters with smooth movements and groundbreaking traps and bosses. Scheduled for a December release, the game stars Pepperushao and is highlighted for its charming, numerous characters, all with distinct animations. The first stage, shown in screenshots, features a toy-filled environment. The preview touches on various enemies and environmental hazards, like a disruptive clock character and a mysterious house. A significant focus is placed on a transforming robot boss, depicted in multiple screenshots, emphasizing the dynamic nature of the fight and the impressive polygon work. The game promises visually engaging gameplay driven by the Saturn's hardware. This page continues the in-depth look at Clockwork Knight for the Sega Saturn, focusing on the protagonist Pepperushao's agile movements made possible by polygons. The article showcases basic actions like walking, running, attacking, and jumping, emphasizing the smoothness of the character's animation. The preview then moves on to Stage 2, highlighting the introduction of interactive switches. These switches, activated by setting a battery and then stepping on them, trigger various environmental reactions like cranes moving or toy cars starting, adding depth to the level design. The page also teases a boss encounter with a heavyweight giant robot, noting the impressive texture mapping on the environment and the boss itself. It mentions the robot's weight affects the battlefield, causing the bridge to buckle. Some details about enemies and the full boss fight are reserved for the next issue. This page reveals new details about Sega Saturn's upcoming Panzer Dragoon, a unique dragon-riding shooting game. While previous previews left the gameplay somewhat unclear, this article shows it's shaping up with the addition of features like a life gauge for the player's dragon. The game boasts easy-to-understand 3D graphics. A key feature highlighted is the superb camera work, offering 4 distinct viewpoints that can be switched using the L and R buttons for smooth perspective changes. although dodging enemy fire is primarily done from the basic view. Players can track enemy positions and numbers via a radar. The page also describes two shot types: a standard rapid-fire shot and a homing shot, activated by holding and releasing the button. Screenshots showcase the game's vividly rendered scenes across varied environments, including a desert level featuring a massive sandworm boss and a forest stage with a giant fortress enemy. This page showcases two upcoming Sega Saturn titles. First up is Victory Goal, Tentative, a soccer game making the leap into 3D polygons, promising a video clip-like demo presentation. It holds the official J.League license, using real player names, which is a fantastic touch for fans. The game features extensive viewpoint options, including various zoom levels and rotation, highlighting the potential of 3Ds for dynamic camera work and smooth player animations. It also boasts multiple modes to keep players engaged. Below that is Van Battle, a fighting game that adopts a striking visual style, using digitized actors and SFX-inspired graphics, pitting monsters against humans in a unique world. Beyond standard one-on-one fights between different species and humans, it also incorporates side-scrolling segments. The use of incorporated photos for character visuals gives it a distinct look, promising diverse and exciting battles with special moves. This page unveils details on two upcoming Sega Saturn role-playing games. First up is Magic Knight Rayearth, a highly anticipated adaptation of the popular manga and anime series by Clamp. The game puts you in the shoes of Hikaru, Umi, and Fu, three middle school girls transported from 1993 Tokyo to the magical world of Sephiroth. Tasked with becoming magic knights to save the land, the game showcases impressive visuals for the era, with detailed environments and charming SD-style character sprites. Screenshots highlight exploration in various locales, including Tokyo Tower and fantastical landscapes. The page praises the game's visual fidelity and fidelity to the source material, noting the dynamic camera work possible with the hardware. Below, Blue Seed is featured, an RPG based on Japanese mythology. You play as Koyo Kusanagi, who must journey across Japan to defeat monstrous origami. The game adopts a unique card battle system for combat, promising exciting and visually striking battles with animations faithful to the original designs. The page shows the national map interface for travel, examples of the card battle system, and various exploration scenes, including dialogue sequences and dungeon crawling. It highlights the game's distinct story and its reliance on strategic card play. This page shifts gears to showcase two exciting new titles for the Sega Saturn. First up is Gran Racer, tentative name, a futuristic racing game joining the Saturn's lineup alongside arcade ports like Daytona USA and Gale Racer. This original title stands out with vehicle and course designs by the legendary Sinmead, promising a unique visual style. Utilizing full polygon graphics, it aims for a strong sense of speed. Screenshots display sleek futuristic cars on dynamic tracks, one even appearing to race inside a building. Adding to the thrill, you can use weapons to interfere with opponents, giving it a chaotic, wacky races-like feel. Below, we find Gotha, tentative name, a strategic simulation game aiming to become a representative title for the Saturn in the SLG genre. Breaking from typical action or shooting games that use polygons, Gotha employs them for tactical depth. The game promises robust strategic elements, incorporating terrain effects, unit characteristics, and formations. It features a multi-scenario and multi-ending system that changes based on your choices, offering high replayability. Screenshots show various units including tanks and aircraft engaged in tactical battles, with a minimap displaying unit positions. The game also allows players to change their viewpoint during battles. This page dives into a fascinating new adventure title for the Sega Saturn called Wanchai Connection. Previously known as Chinese Detective, this game stands out by blending live-action video footage, shot entirely on location in Hong Kong, with 3D CG environments. The page highlights the casting of notable Japanese actors Toshikazu Futakawa and Aya Sugimoto as the main characters. A press conference was held to unveil them, emphasizing their roles in bringing the game's dramatic narrative to life. The gameplay is described as a next-generation adventure where players investigate mysteries, question suspects, and make choices that drive the story forward through interactive live-action sequences and explorations within detailed 3D CG virtual spaces. The plot centers on a detective, Michael Lee, played by Futakawa, investigating the discovery of a beautiful woman, played by Sugimoto, found in a sack with no memory. As they delve into her past and a linked criminal case, a romance develops, leading them into a deep mystery that will only be resolved when her memory returns. The page includes comments from the actors, expressing their excitement about the project and the unique blend of gaming and drama. It's shaping up to be a unique, story-driven experience for the Saturn. This page delves into how the arrival of the Sega Saturn is poised to revolutionize game distribution. It features insights from 3 different sectors: Toshiba Emi, a toy distributor, Moomin, and a major game retailer, Layox. Toshiba Emi discusses plans to leverage their existing CD distribution network, including placing demo units in CD shops and potentially expanding into distributing game music and videos, like those for Virtua Fighter and Dynamite Headdy. They see potential for more efficient production and delivery compared to older game software models. The toy distributor notes the strong pre-orders for Saturn, even causing users to hold off on other purchases, and predicts Saturn will be the top hardware this year, acting as a savior for the industry and breaking Nintendo's long-standing dominance by bringing new distribution channels into play. Layox, a large game retailer, focuses on the challenge of expanding the Saturn user base beyond the core Sega fans, especially given the price point. They suggest more general advertising is key and mention the popularity of Virtua Fighter and the potential of software blending live action and CG, referencing titles like Rampo. The page includes images of the interviewees and the exterior of the Layox store, along with Virtua Fighter artwork. This page features an interview with Hiroshi Watanabe, discussing his perspective on the Sega Saturn. He contrasts it with the PlayStation, suggesting that while PlayStation is perceived as a machine at the cutting edge of image technology, the Saturn is fundamentally built on game concepts, directly leveraging Sega's deep arcade know-how. He points to Sega's strength and the existence of teams like AM2, specifically mentioning the groundbreaking realism in games like Virtua Fighter, which goes beyond simple visuals to include physics like gravity. Watanabe believes the Saturn is poised to deliver the pinnacle of game experiences. He also touches upon the challenge of expanding the Saturn's user base beyond core fans, suggesting efforts like price reductions and software rentals are needed, similar to how the video and music industries broaden their appeal. Sega's sales targets are highlighted, aiming for significant unit sales and a large software lineup, with plans for extensive marketing like radio and TV commercials to establish the Saturn as the leading next-generation console. The page includes a photo of Mr. Watanabe and the Sega Saturn console. This page focuses on the Sega 32X, highlighting its capabilities and future prospects. The main image shows the Super 32X attached to a Mega Drive, emphasizing its expandability, including compatibility with the Mega CD. It also mentions the release of new titles and reveals the rear view of the unit for the first time. The core of the page is an interview with Hiroichi Nagata, department head of Sega's 4th CSR&D. He discusses the 32X's positioning and performance, stating that from a developer's standpoint, it's amazing and allows for perfect arcade ports of games like Space Harrier. While it may not reach the level of Sega's most advanced Model 1 arcade boards, titles like Star Wars Arcade and Virtua Fighter Remix give a clear picture of what's possible. Regarding the software lineup, Nagata confirms arcade ports will be a significant part, but also hints at surprising and unique titles. He touches upon the development process, noting that it's relatively easy for teams familiar with the Mega Drive, and the distributed processing is straightforward. He adds that the development environment is familiar to PC developers. Many overseas developers are already releasing games, and there's anticipation for the domestic market depending on conditions. Screenshots of Space Harrier 32X, Star Wars Arcade 32X, Virtua Fighter Remix, and Virtua Racing Deluxe are featured, showcasing the graphical capabilities discussed. The general sentiment is that the focus should be on improving gameplay rather than just specs. This page continues the special interview on the Super 32X, delving into further details about its capabilities and upcoming software. Interview 4 addresses the prospects for CD-compatible software, mentioning titles like the tentative Shadow of Atlantis CD. It notes that while cartridge titles will be prevalent initially, the 32X paired with a Mega CD can achieve a significantly higher color count and handle full-screen video. Interview 5 focuses on the new PWM sound source, which is described as excelling in producing sounds like drums, bass, and guitar, and capable of clear voice output, particularly beneficial for fighting games, with the upcoming Space Harrier build cited as an example. Interview 6 highlights the development of original 32X titles, led by department head Nagata's team. Beyond arcade ports like Space Harrier and Afterburner Complete, new games are underway, designed to offer experiences distinct from Sega Saturn titles. Metalhead is specifically mentioned as an original 32X game, featuring texture-mapped robots and full-screen video. The page also provides practical details on connecting the 32X, showing diagrams for attachment to Mega Drive consoles, including the use of a spacer for the Mega Drive 2, and mentioning compatibility with the Wonder Mega series. The interview concludes with Nagata's philosophy, emphasizing the importance of fun and affordable software that makes users feel they are getting amazing experiences for the hardware's price, rather than just focusing on raw performance specs. This page focuses on the highly anticipated return of Space Harrier, a masterpiece from Sega's Arcade Experience series, now revived on the Super 32X at a super low price. Hailed as a near-perfect port of the original arcade game, this version is said to surpass previous home conversions, including the well-regarded X68000 release. The article highlights the impressive fidelity, showcasing how the 32X's power delivers arcade-level graphics with larger characters and a higher color count. The new PWM sound source is also praised for reproducing the arcade music and effects, including the distinct voice samples and messages, exactly as you remember them. The faithful recreation extends to the gameplay itself, perfectly capturing the feel and speed of the arcade original. Notably, the unique boss lineup from the arcade, including fan favorites like Lori, Salvalon, and Wuienbo, are all present and accounted for, alongside familiar challenges like the DOMs. Even bonus stages, such as the one where you ride the friendly dragon Uriah, are included and function just like they should. The reviewer expresses genuine surprise at the quality achieved on the 32X, marveling at how close it comes to the arcade experience, making it a must-have title for fans. This page focuses on the Sega 32X title, Virtua Racing Deluxe, presenting it as a powerful evolution of the original Virtua Racing. The article highlights the addition of new original elements, specifically mentioning new courses, showcasing the game's full potential on the 32X hardware. Development was well underway, with the USA version already completed, and focus shifting to the Japanese and European releases, promising slight adjustments to things like difficulty and graphics. A key feature discussed is the enhanced two-player versus battle mode, which utilizes the 32X's power for smoother split-screen visuals and improved visibility over the Genesis version. The viewpoint switching has also been refined, offering a more realistic experience with 4 different camera options available, including the popular driver's eye view and an overhead helicopter perspective. The page proudly introduces 2 brand-new 32X exclusive original courses. Sand Park is described as a desert circuit featuring a road split point and a prominent tunnel section. Highland is a challenging city course, marking the first appearance of a complex interchange or flyover in the Virtua Racing series, and is highlighted by the development team as having particularly impressive replay footage. These new tracks, along with improved polygon counts for more detailed cars and environments, underscore the significant upgrades Virtua Racing Deluxe brings to the 32X platform, promising an even more intense and visually impressive racing experience. This page continues the coverage of Sega 32X titles, focusing on Virtua Racing Deluxe and Star Wars Arcade. For Virtua Racing Deluxe, it details the faithful reproduction of the original 3 arcade courses, Big Forest, Bay Bridge, and Acropolis, enhanced for the 32X. Visual upgrades include animated elements, like moving Ferris wheels and windmills, increased color palettes, and more detailed polygon models, such as the Chakyun object. Gameplay improvements, like branching routes on Bay Bridge and refined viewpoints, including a driver's eye perspective with car-specific steering wheel positions, are highlighted. The article also points out details like backfire effects and the ability to explore areas behind the track barriers. The page then shifts to Star Wars Arcade for 32X, presenting it as a high-quality polygon shooter, utilizing data directly from the arcade version for a near-identical experience. A major highlight is the inclusion of the famous Death Star assault scene. The game supports a unique 2-player simultaneous mode where one player controls movement and the other handles weapons. Screenshots showcase intense space battles against iconic Imperial craft. This page continues coverage of Sega 32X titles. First, we see Golf Magazine presents 36 Holes starring Fred Couples. The graphics are highlighted as improving significantly each month, becoming more realistic. This is the first look at female golfers in the game. A notable feature is the ability to freely change clothing and skin color for golfers, a unique touch for the time. Next is Cosmic Carnage, shown under its provisional title. This fighting game features characters that scale dynamically based on distance. A key mechanic allows you to swap body parts, affecting strength, so you can power up a favorite character. The designs are described as detailed and somewhat grotesque, providing intense fighting action. Finally, the page covers Doom for the 32X, demonstrating the console's power. The game's development is progressing smoothly, with realistic details like fallen enemies remaining on screen, contributing to a strong sense of virtual reality. The reviewer finds it genuinely scary. Health and ammo displays are now complete, signaling the game is close to release, and screenshots show the intense first-person action and gore. This page kicks off a new corner called Ancient Park, edited by the development studio Ancient themselves. It starts with an introduction, and then asks the question, what is Ancient? While the name might not be instantly recognizable to everyone, the text highlights their involvement with popular titles like Sonic the Hedgehog on Game Gear and Streets of Rage 2. It emphasizes that Ancient is a group of highly creative individuals, particularly known for their sharp game music, like the soundtracks for Streets of Rage titles and ActRaisers. 6 core members are introduced with caricatures and brief descriptions, including legendary composers Yuzo Koshiro and Motohiro Kawashima. The page then focuses on Ancient's latest project, Beyond Oasis, referred to by its Japanese title Story of Thor. It's described as a challenging action RPG, with dynamic action and detailed animation. A comic panel provides a visual taste of the game's intense action, featuring various enemies and characters. The team mentions the Streets of Rage 3 soundtrack CD, calling it a crazy groove that's essential for any serious game music fan. A personal note from Yuzo Koshiro discusses the difficulty of developing Beyond Oasis as their first big project, taking over a year, much longer than Streets of Rage 2. The page concludes with a personal message, thanking readers and contact information for submitting feedback to the corner. This page is the Sony Tsushin Corner from Sonic Software Planning, diving into player impressions of the Shining Force series, particularly comparing the Game Gear versions to the Shining Force CD compilation. The main point is how different hardware can change the perception of a game, even with the same story. While the graphics improve significantly on Sega CD, and the Game Gear version's visuals like character portraits are described as gray, the core gameplay and character stats might not change drastically, but players' attachment can alter how useful a character feels. The page features fan art and comments from various contributors about their favorite characters and experiences. There's a strong focus on the character Mayfair, whose impression is said to change significantly from her appearances in the original games to her more prominent role as a strategist in Shining Force CD. Other characters like Shu and Natasha are also featured. The contributors share their personal feelings and discoveries playing the games on different platforms. A small section includes a personal diary entry from one of the contributors, concluding their entries for the year. This page is the No Kone Times section, published by Compile and dated October 8, 1994. The main focus is the latest information on Madu Monogatari 2i for the Game Gear, discussing upcoming in-game events like encounters with the cucumber-loving Kappa character. It also confirms the Mega Drive version of Madu Monogatari 2i is scheduled for a November release. The page highlights a points system for reader contributions, offering various Puyo Puyo themed prizes such as fans, bags, setting materials, and phone cards. A survey asks readers for their favorite falling block puzzle game. The No Kone Gallery section showcases fan art and comments featuring popular characters from the Madu Monogatari and Puyo Puyo universe, including Arle, Rulyu, and Scherzo. The page also features various small comic strips and invites readers to send in postcards for inclusion in the section, reinforcing the strong emphasis on community and fan interaction, a theme common in these magazine sections. Jam Ojisan's Age Before Beauty column analyzes the Sega Saturn and Sony PlayStation launch competition. While initial surveys show higher Saturn popularity, particularly due to Virtua Fighter, Sony's lower third-party developer royalty rates are a crucial advantage. Nintendo's historically strong control over the market, despite their few first-party titles, and high cartridge commission fees, gives them a profit edge. Sega's mixed track record with previous consoles, lacking the trust of third parties, positions Sony favorably. The column argues that Sega needs substantial post-launch efforts to secure third-party support, a critical aspect often overlooked. Nintendo's profit model, relying on cartridge manufacturing and high commissions, is contrasted with Sega's lower software costs. A small survey snippet shows Saturn slightly outperforming PlayStation in purchase intentions, but other consoles like the Super Nintendo and Sega 32X are also mentioned. The column concludes by encouraging reader questions for future installments. This page features Eric's Raging Hobby column, Hooked Game Experience Log. With this installment, X.28, focusing on the 3D version of Road Rash. The author, Eric, who is a 30-year-old American from Cleveland, describes being completely hooked on the game, comparing it favorably to the previous Mega Drive versions, Road Rash and Road Rash 2. He highlights the enhanced realism of the 3D version, powered by its 32-bit CPU, noting the violence, humor, and engaging gameplay, including punching, kicking, and using weapons. Eric also recounts the difficulty he faced in obtaining the game upon its release. A small bio box provides details about Eric and his various hobbies. The column reflects on the past 2.5 years since its inception, and notes the significant changes in the game industry, with the impending arrival of next-generation consoles like the Sega Saturn and Sony PlayStation. The page includes a cartoon illustration depicting a humorous racing scene. This installment is noted as the final one in the series. This page presents the 30th installment of the column, Seeing the Sega Saturn from a Slightly Higher Perspective, titled Multimedia Declaration, Episode 30. So many multimedia issues? Multimedia's unease? The author, Amaki, delves into the challenges and doubts surrounding multimedia. He questions the definition of multimedia, criticizing NTT for using an outdated overhead projector for a symposium on multimedia and the Internet. He also muses on the necessity of online shopping in Japan, contrasting it with the success of Minitel in France, and suggesting that readily available shops in Japan make it less essential. Amaki critiques Creedrom games that rely heavily on intro videos but offer gameplay little different from older room cartridges, referencing games like Zork. Despite listing these points of unease, he concludes he isn't overly worried, seeing multimedia's evolution as part of broader societal and technological shifts. He encourages users to think critically about how to improve multimedia experiences. The page features images of the Sega Saturn console, Clydroms, and various multimedia devices like a laptop and drawing tablet, along with an illustration of Amaki. This page delves into the evolution of game graphics, specifically comparing traditional sprite-based games with the emerging polygon technology. Historically, sprite games and polygon games appealed to different audiences, partly because early polygon rendering was slower. Games used sprite techniques to create effects like scaling and rotation, faking 3D views as seen in titles like F-Zero and Super Mario Kart, illustrated in Figure 2, which simulated perspective by scaling a single background image of the track. However, this method couldn't represent true 3D movement or complex curves realistically, as shown in Figure 1. The article explains that polygons, although initially appearing blocky, offer a path towards more realistic representation. It describes the progression from simple wireframe models, to adding shading and texture mapping, increasing the number of polygons for better detail. The key advantage highlighted is that polygons represent objects in a true 3D space, allowing for free movement and rotation along the XYZ axes, unlike sprites which are limited to 2D manipulation, even when faking depth. This fundamental difference in how objects are represented and manipulated in a virtual 3D environment is presented as the core concept driving the next generation of game machines towards realism. The article also includes a side note. 1. Defining sprites and their limitations, such as sprite limits causing flicker or disappearance. This page is part of the recurring Eccentric Game Paradise Bake King feature, diving into various quirky aspects of gaming culture and specific titles. It kicks off with secret techniques, including a glitch in the game Bakuden that reveals hidden card-matching graphics when paused, and a tactic for the game Generous Chaos where you use projectile attacks and immediately pause. A new arcade game from Sega called Ambition of the Zunzun Cult is reviewed. This is a top-down shooter, described as having a bizarre premise, involving destroying cult bases across different regions. The reviewer notes the strange character movements and explosive boss fights, expressing hope for Mega Drive and Game Gear ports. Other sections feature a training course for high society gamers, offering tips on surviving tough bosses, and a look at a gathering of the Mega Driver faction. There's even a unique horoscope reading, casting the Sega Saturn as a person born on its release date, analyzing its prospects based on astrology, suggesting it might initially appeal more to hardcore fans and require aggressive advertising. Finally, the page closes with brief notes from the editorial staff, sharing personal anecdotes related to gaming events and travel. The next page presents the highly anticipated upcoming software schedule for Sega's platforms. The Mega Drive, Mega CD, Super 32X, and Mega LD. This is where we get a peek at what Sega fans had to look forward to in late 1994 and early 1995. The schedule lists titles with their planned release dates, prices, manufacturers, genres, and other details like cartridge capacity or peripheral compatibility. For the Mega Drive, notable upcoming titles include classics like Sonic and Knuckles and Mega Man. The Wily Wars hitting in October, followed by Samurai Showdown and Tecmo Super Bowl II in November. December looks strong with The Lion King, Nigel Mansell's World Championship Racing, the highly anticipated story of Thor, and Puyo Puyo 2. Many more titles are listed as undecided for release in early 1995, covering a wide range of genres. The Mega CD lineup features Starblade in October, after Armageddon Gaiden and Lethal Enforcers 2 in November, plus Lunar, Eternal Blue and Tomcat Alley among others, slated for year-end and beyond. The Super 32X section, representing the newest hardware, shows major releases like Star Wars Arcade, Space Harrier, Doom, and Vs. R Deluxe expected before the year's end, with Afterburner Complete and Metalhead planned for 1995, along with a host of other titles marked as undecided. Finally, the Mega LD schedule details interactive Laserdisc titles, including Drive, Poirot's Video, Ghost Rush, and eventually Myst in early 1995, showcasing the variety this format could offer. This page dives into the highly anticipated Sega Saturn software status, detailing the upcoming game lineup from various publishers. A large table lists titles with their planned release windows, including November and December 1994, early 1995, and a significant list marked as undecided. Key titles appearing early include Virtua Fighter and Myst in November, and Clockwork Knight in December. The early 1995 list features major players like Daytona USA and Panzer Dragoon. The extensive undecided list shows a diverse range of genres from racing, simulation, and RPGs to action and sports, with well-known names like Doom, SimCity 2000, Echo the Dolphin, and Romance of the Three Kingdoms. The text below the table reinforces that the Saturn's launch is imminent, and that third-party developers, previously quiet, are now actively progressing on their titles. The article highlights that the software lineup is rapidly solidifying, with new announcements and title changes occurring frequently, building immense excitement for the console's debut. This page presents a software schedule primarily for the Sega Genesis/Mega Drive and Game Gear platforms, alongside updates from various game developers. A large table lists upcoming titles from October 1994 through January 1995, plus a section for games with undecided release dates. Key titles mentioned include Sonic and Tails 2, known as Sonic the Hedgehog 2 internationally, Magic Knight Ray-Earth, Puyo Puyo 2, and Samurai Showdown. The editorial section notes recent changes in publisher names and highlights titles that have appeared or disappeared from the schedule, specifically mentioning the confirmed release of Panorama Cotton. Below, the Soft Maker Information Board provides brief messages from companies like Sega Enterprises, who discuss the impending Sega Saturn and 32X launch, Imagineer, Acclaim Japan, mentioning Mortal Kombat 2, Konami, discussing Lethal Enforcers 2, Takara, highlighting Fatal Fury Special and Samurai Showdown, and Namco, confirming Starblade for Mega CD. Other developers like GameArts, Pioneer, Gramis, ArtDink, Sunsoft, Vic Takai, ASC2, and Time Warner Interactive also share updates on their progress and upcoming projects. The page features artwork of Sonic characters. This page is a reader survey postcard for the magazine, asking for feedback and demographic information from readers. It provides instructions on how to fill out the survey, requesting personal details, opinions on the magazine's articles, and suggestions for games they'd like to see ported to the Mega Drive and Sega Saturn. The survey itself includes multiple-choice questions covering gender, age, occupation, the number of Mega Drive per Candela games owned, and other gaming magazines they read, listing titles like Famicom Tsushin and V-Jump. It also asks which hardware platforms they currently own and which ones they plan to purchase, featuring a comprehensive list including the Genesis, Mega CD, 32X, Saturn, PlayStation, Neo Geo, and even the Ultra 64, later N64, showing the competitive landscape of the time. Readers are also asked to identify interesting and uninteresting articles from a list provided in the magazine, as well as to select up to 3 Mega Drive and Sega Saturn games they most want to buy from extensive lists. These lists feature numerous notable titles like Alien Soldier, Beyond Oasis, Lunar, Eternal Blue, Power Instinct, Samurai Showdown, Virtua Fighter, Panzer Dragoon, Clockwork Knight, Daytona USA, Myst, and Rayman, showcasing the exciting lineup of games available and anticipated across Sega's platforms. Finally, the page lists the winners from the previous month's reader giveaway, featuring prizes ranging from preferred software and hardware like the MegaJet to posters and t-shirts. This page provides an in-depth look at the highly anticipated arcade sequel, Virtua Fighter 2, from Sega AM2. It highlights the game's stunning visual and motion improvements, made possible by the advanced Model 2 graphics board, a significant leap over the original game's Model 1 hardware. AM2's head, Yu Suzuki, discusses the expectations and effort put into this new installment. Screenshots showcase the dynamic gameplay and a comparison of the character select screens between Virtua Fighter 1 and 2, illustrating the massive graphical evolution. The feature emphasizes the impact of the original Virtua Fighter on the fighting game genre, and how the sequel aims to raise the bar even higher, with more realistic graphics and new stages, like the river stage shown. It notes the game was set for an arcade release within the year, building excitement for what was poised to be a groundbreaking title. This page continues the deep dive into Sega AM2's highly anticipated arcade title, Virtua Fighter 2, featuring a special interview with AM2 head, Yu Suzuki. Suzuki discusses the game's core theme of pursuing realism, which has been a goal throughout the series. He highlights the significant leap in graphical capability enabled by the new Model 2 hardware compared to the original's Model 1, emphasizing the goal of making the characters and environments look and move more naturally. The feature then breaks down key advancements. Checkpoint 1 focuses on the dramatic improvement in expressive power thanks to texture mapping, citing character details like Pei-chan's back embroidery and Wolf Hawkfield's skin texture. It also notes the increased polygon count allows for more detailed backgrounds and 3D stages. Checkpoint 2 introduces the 2 new characters joining the roster: Lion Rafal, who uses praying mantis style, and Shun Dai, a master of drunken fist. Their unique fighting styles and personalities are discussed, adding depth to the game's combat system. The screenshots clearly show the impressive graphical upgrade and the new characters in action, demonstrating the significant evolution from the first game. This page continues the deep dive into Virtua Fighter 2, expanding on the character roster and combat mechanics. The discussion highlights significant changes, noting Akira Yuki's moves have been improved, with the addition of evade and defense breaking techniques, making him a much stronger fighter. Other characters like Jackie Bryant also see improvements, particularly in their feint variations, and jump attacks are now much more effective. Checkpoint 3 details the overhaul of every character's moveset, including basic moves, adding new hidden techniques, and refining existing ones to better fit character personalities. Some characters are noted to feel completely different to play. Checkpoint 4 focuses on the game's animation, presenting it as the true core of VF2's realism. Powered by the Model 2 board, the game runs at a smooth 60 frames per second, double the rate of the original, resulting in incredibly fluid motion that makes the first game feel slow by comparisons. Screenshots throughout the page demonstrate the improved character models and dynamic gameplay moments. This page continues the deep dive into Virtua Fighter 2, featuring an interview with developer Mr. Suzuki. He discusses the return of Dural as a bonus stage character, and mentions the stages themselves have improved. Regarding new characters, he reveals they originally planned 4 but settled on 2, stating their inclusion significantly strengthens the gameplay. The background music has also been completely redone, and Mr. Suzuki expresses a desire for the game to feel like a kung fu movie, referencing Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan films. Checkpoint 5 highlights the crucial addition of counter techniques, noting they transform combat from a simple attack-defense flow into a dynamic, real-time exchange. Akira Yuki and the 2 new characters are noted as having many of these techniques. The section also details Virtua Fighter 2's new defensive concepts, moving beyond simple blocking. These include opening up an opponent's defense, parrying while striking, evading and then striking, and dodging without physical contact. Specific techniques like parrying, evasive moves, such as drunken fist and praying mantis styles, and backdashes are discussed as key defensive tools. The screenshots show gameplay moments demonstrating these intense exchanges between characters like Akira, Cage, Lion Rafal, and Sarah Bryant. This page reports on the latest AM show, highlighting AM2 Labs' presence with Virtua Fighter 2 and Virtua Cop, along with a showing of the Sega Saturn version of Virtua Fighter. The main draw at the show was the debut of the Daytona USA Special, featuring an impressive row of 8 linkable deluxe motion cabinets. An AM4 Lab prototype similar to the motion cabinet, designed for 8-player linking, was also showcased. Turning to Virtua Fighter, a nationwide tournament titled the Virtua Fighter Final Battle is being held, culminating in the lead-up to Virtua Fighter 2's release. Entry is found via posters in arcades. Intriguingly, the page teases a Super Scoop, available through the Sega Fax Club, hinting at a mysterious rumor: the possibility of using Dural via a special command in the Sega Saturn version. The AM2 Lab Express section showcases reader contributions. This year's grand prize winner is featured a fan who repainted their Mazda AS1 minicar in vibrant Daytona USA colors. The page also displays reader illustrations of popular Virtua Fighter characters, Akira and Sarah Bryant. AM2 Lab is actively seeking more reader submissions, including illustrations, questions, and opinions, promising direct answers and prizes like limited edition Virtua Fighter staff jackets and Daytona merchandise for selected entries. This page dives into the making of Virtua Fighter 2, chronicling a 2-week research trip to China undertaken by Yu Suzuki and the AM2 team, documented by author Kazunari Uchida. The article highlights how this journey was intended to imbue the game with soul and energy. Featured images include a man, likely Yu Suzuki, on what appears to be the Great Wall, a group photo including the author and a guide, and a screenshot from Virtua Fighter 2 showing Akira Yuki battling Kagemaru on a bridge stage. The text reflects on the significant encounters during the trip, emphasizing that the people met were the most impactful element. The author notes the complexity of China's history, marked by events like the Cultural Revolution and the Tiananmen Square incident, and expresses admiration for the resilience of its people. A key concept discussed is the idea of energy, and Suzuki's personal word, vastness, which seemed to resonate deeply with him, feeling small in the face of expansive places and people. Returning to Japan, development on Virtua Fighter 2 began in earnest. While the core concept of a real 3D polygonal fighting game remained, the content was significantly upgraded. The article reveals that polygon human representation was considered a dream before the first Virtua Fighter. Looking ahead, Suzuki expressed a desire to create a character based on their Chinese guide, Mr. Zhang, potentially named Hong Yu, leaving the reader anticipating how this idea might manifest in the game. This page continues the deep dive into the creation of Virtua Fighter 2, picking up after the impactful China research trip. Yu Suzuki shares his game design philosophy, aiming not just for realism, but for accessibility to both veterans and newcomers. He discusses the significant leap from Model 1 to Model 2 hardware, enabling a higher frame rate, 60 FPS, and more detailed polygons, leading to more human-like characters and smoother animation. The article highlights how observing real-life movements in China revealed they were far faster and more complex than initially imagined, challenging the developers' assumptions and influencing the game's direction. 2 new characters are introduced: Shun Dai, who uses Drunken Fist, and Lion Rafal, a master of praying mantis style. The complex task of balancing these intricate real-world fighting styles within the game engine led to significant challenges, requiring constant adjustments. Suzuki expresses a strong stance against leveling down characters who have improved, viewing the balancing process as a form of rigorous training for both programmers and the virtual fighters themselves. A screenshot shows Akira Yuki battling Kagemaru on a scenic bridge stage. The page also includes a photo of Yu Suzuki in the development environment, guiding his team. A short postscript from the author notes the series' serialization and expresses excitement for Virtua Fighter 2's upcoming arcade release. A section invites readers to submit feedback on the article series. This page dives into Mega Man, the Wily Wars, also known as Rockman Mega World in Japan. The article announces the game's release and promises a point-by-point explanation. It highlights that this title brings together 3 classic Mega Man games, allowing players to tackle all 22 bosses from the original trilogy, plus new stages original to the Mega Drive version. The focus here is on strategies for the bosses, particularly those from the first Mega Man. The guide explains the weapon weaknesses, emphasizing the rock-paper-scissors style relationships between weapons and bosses, which is crucial for success. It details strategies for Gutsman, suggesting staying put and jumping to avoid his ground attack. For Cutman, it advises using the super arm, Gutsman's weapon, twice to defeat him. Elecman's attacks are powerful and cover multiple directions, but he can be taken down quickly with the rolling cutter. Iceman's weakness is Elecman's weapon, the Thunder Beam, which can defeat him in 3 hits. Fireman is vulnerable to Iceman's weapon, the Ice Slasher, requiring a cautious approach. Finally, Bombman jumps around, making him hard to hit, but Fireman's weapon, the Firestorm, is effective, and timing shots for his landing is key. The page includes screenshots of the game and portraits of the featured bosses. The bottom of the page includes copyright information for Capcom and the years 1987, 1988, 1990, and 1994, along with the page number 104. This Mega Man. The Wily Wars Guide provides strategies for Mega Man 2 and 3 bosses. Mega Man 2 is tougher, recommending starting with Metal Man, Metal Blade, Heat Man, and others. Can be defeated in a specific order, but Crash Man and Flash Man are initially challenging. Mega Man 3 is even more difficult, suggesting starting with Spark Man. Other bosses like Magnet Man, Gemini Man, and Top Man are relatively easy early on, and Needle Man's defeat often precedes success with Snake Man. Learning boss attack patterns is crucial, though the Mega Buster is sufficient for many fights with the right techniques. The guide includes screenshots of boss battles and weapon selections for both games, emphasizing the importance of researching enemy weaknesses from previous games. This page is all about the Sega Mega Drive version of the fighting game, Power Instinct, Guketuji Ichizoku. The article highlights the original elements added specifically for this console release, promising to reveal details about the remaining characters and even some secret data. It boasts a karaoke mode, where you can sing along to the game's BGM. The page also points out the mysterious shadow characters watching the fights in the background, hinting at their significance. There's a section detailing the final boss, Okarime, describing her fighting style and how similar she is to her brother, Okarime. Finally, it poses the question of who will become the next head of the clan. The page features character artwork and screenshots showcasing the game's visuals and the elements discussed. This page is a deep dive into the 8 main characters of Power Instinct on the Sega Mega Drive, revealing their special move commands and strategic insights. The article provides profiles for Thin Nen, Hattori Saizo, Keith Wayne, Annie Hamilton, Reiji Oyama, Angela Belty, White Buffalo, and Otane Gokitsuji. For each fighter, it outlines their key strengths and recommended playstyles, detailing specific special moves and how they fit into their overall strategy. For example, Thin Nen is highlighted for his wide-hitting attacks and versatile fireball, Saizo for his incredible speed and dash-based offense, and Reiji is compared to iconic fighting game characters with his projectile and invincible rising attack. Annie Hamilton is noted for her surprising normal attack reach, while Keith Wayne excels at canceling long kicks into combos. Angela Belty compensates for speed with effective slides and body attacks, White Buffalo pressures opponents with canceled kicks and tackles, and Otane focuses on long-range combat, even featuring a transformation with unique moves. The page features screenshots illustrating the characters and their signature techniques, offering a visual guide to their fighting styles. A small message from the developers confirms the game is complete and encourages newcomers to the fighting genre to try it, highlighting a strong training mode. This page focuses on the upcoming Sega Mega Drive title, Alien Soldier. It highlights that the game system is complete, and the release date is anticipated soon, showing a 10% completion gauge. The article delves into the game's customizable systems, including weapon selection and health display options. Players can choose 4 out of 6 weapon types before starting, broadly categorized into shot, laser, and frame types. Examples shown include the standard Buster Force, the close-range Sword Force, the projectile-spreading Ranger Force, and the homing Homer Force, among others. A significant part of the page introduces Shell Tiger, one of the game's key characters, showing his human form Kyoichi and his transformation into the battle-ready Epsilon 2. The article explains that Epsilon 2 is a modified organism created by humans for space survival, but capable of parasitizing human hosts, revealing the hidden nature of many such beings, including Shelvan Tiger. Screenshots showcase the intense boss battles and the different weapon effects in action. The article also touches upon gameplay mechanics, like the invincible dash, which is crucial for strategy. This preview gives a solid look at the core mechanics and narrative setup of the highly anticipated Alien Soldier. This page continues the deep dive into the action-packed Alien Soldier, focusing on later stages and characters. It reveals that the formidable opponent in Stage 2 is none other than Epsilon 1, who split from Epsilon 2 in the past. The reason for their separation and current conflict is teased, promising future revelations. Several other distinctive characters are introduced. Deep Striker, affectionately nicknamed Sammy, is a human-shaped, modified organism who transforms into a fearsome beast. Gasthead, an artificial wind-controlling mech, is shown attached to structures and excels at wind-based attacks. An interesting chart provides relationship hints for various characters. It shows Flying Neo and Gasthead as a married couple, with Gast Neo as their child. More intriguingly, it depicts a past romantic relationship between Sting and Shelvan Tiger, Epsilon 2, suggesting complex personal histories among these powerful beings. The page also mentions a contest for reader-submitted Cade transformation patterns, and hints at the winners being announced in the next issue, showing some of the creative submissions. Finally, a developer comment touches on memories and inspirations related to the game's development. The page gives a great sense of the unique character designs and the evolving storyline in Alien Soldier. This page kicks off coverage of the highly anticipated Lunar, Eternal Blue, the second installment in the beloved RPG series on the Mega CD. It reveals the vast world map of Lunar 2, comprising 6 distinct continents, each with unique climates and terrain influencing the local culture. Fans of the first game will recognize some returning cities, though they have undergone significant changes over the centuries since the original story. The adventure begins in the southeast of the world map, specifically in the Sayan Desert area, where the protagonist starts gathering companions. The article emphasizes just how expansive the world map is, promising a long and engaging journey. A familiar pink cat-like creature, likely Ruby, is featured prominently. The page highlights 2 specific locations on the map: the Disk Mountains, a region formed by a large lake and mountains, noted for its mineral wealth despite being poor farmland, and the West Catalina region. Basic game details are provided, including a planned December release, a price of 9,800 yen, and confirmation as a single-player RPG, currently 85% complete. The coverage makes it clear that the world of Lunar 2 is much larger and more detailed than its predecessor. This page continues the exploration of the vast world map of Lunar, Eternal Blue, detailing 4 more distinct regions that players will traverse. We get a closer look at the 2 West Catalina region, a land of harsh, ice-covered mountains to the north, and extensive wetlands to the south, noted for its lack of significant human habitation due to the extreme conditions. 3. The East Catalina region is depicted as a stark contrast, a fertile land covered in lush forests with a deep-rooted ancient culture, home to prosperous port cities like Maribia and Vane, serving as major centers for trade and commerce. 4. The Madria Plains, located north of the Sayan Desert, are shown as a beautiful grassland, born from nomadic traditions, but now featuring settlements and a bustling trade hub, maintaining a strong reverence for the goddess Althena. Finally, 5. The Mania Sea region, situated east of the Disk Mountains, faces a large inland sea. The land is scarred by lava flows from nearby volcanoes, leading to little development, yet the long-settled inhabitants live a simple, earnest life. The page also briefly mentions the starting area, 6. The Sayan Desert, promising a full introduction on the next page. These descriptions further illustrate the incredible scale and varied environments awaiting players in Lunar 2. Lunar, Eternal Blue's starting area, the Sayan Desert, is a harsh wasteland with recently established towns like Dalton, the largest settlement. Dalton, influenced by the goddess Althena, is a bustling trading hub with references to the 4 heroes. Rapa Village, populated by honest wanderers, relies on sand ships. The page details Althena's history, reincarnation, and return to lead the Althena Guard with the 4 dragons and 4 heroes, including Leo. The opening scene shows protagonist Hyro attempting to retrieve a jewel from a ruin, launching the adventure. Character close-ups of Hyro and his companion, Ruby, are also included, providing a comprehensive introduction to the game's world. This page delves further into the world of Lunar, Eternal Blue, highlighting key locations and events early in the adventure. We see the mysterious Blue Tower, an imposing 8-story dungeon north of protagonist Hyro's home. The path to the tower is depicted as a dungeon itself, emphasizing the challenge from the outset. Inside the tower, vibrant anime-style visual scenes showcase Hyro's fated encounter with Lucia, who appears in a flash of light and asks to be taken to Althena. The page also gives us a look at Hyro's remote home, a place of research, and an observation deck he built. Interestingly, Leo, a prominent character mentioned previously, is shown visiting Hijiro's house. Finally, the section on the Dragon Ruins, where the journey begins, shows snippets of dungeon gameplay with enemies, traps, and the unexpected appearance of Leo's massive airship, the Valgon, adding excitement and intrigue to the unfolding story. The page emphasizes the rich visual presentation and continuous action. This page continues the deep dive into the world of Lunar, Eternal Blue, presented as the 4th installment of the Lunar Special Express column. This feature is nearing its conclusion, with only 2 more parts remaining. The page includes illustrations by Hiroshi Sasaki, showcasing unique elements from the game's world, specifically a detailed design for an Iron Thunder soldier missile launcher, and a light sailing ship, Level 2, providing insight into the game's distinctive mechanical and nautical conveyances. We also hear from key developers, Toshio Akashi, who discusses the demanding work of directing character demos and provides a glimpse at a storyboard, and Noriyuki Iwasaki, the composer, who talks about pouring his energy into the game's soundtrack. Finally, the page features fan-submitted artwork, highlighting the community's passion with various character illustrations, including one notable drawing of the composer himself. The segment on fan art mentions the column is eager to receive more enthusiastic submissions as the game's release date approaches. Lunar, Eternal Blue's development continues, showcasing concept art for dungeons, events, and enemies. Development diaries for February to April 1994. Detail map completion and voice recording challenges. A character popularity vote, with Hyro and Lucia leading, is ongoing, and fan art is featured. President Miyagi reports positive test play feedback, highlighting the game's entertainment value. A welcome doujin artists section showcases fan art and manga, encouraging further submissions. The upcoming issue topic is flexible, with the character vote and fan art submissions still open. This page is dedicated to Soulstar, a spectacular 3D shooter heading to the Mega CD, developed by Core Design, the same crew behind Battlecore. They're hyping this up as the ultimate revenge story. The game is a 3D shooter that makes great use of Core Design's scaling and rotation techniques for a full 360-degree view, which is pretty impressive. A major highlight is the 2-player co-op mode, featuring a unique system where players split roles. The narrative centers on the survivors of the destroyed planet Cryo, seeking vengeance against their attackers. The article showcases stunning demo visuals, promising intense space battles, and dramatic cutscenes, leaving the reviewer thoroughly impressed with both the graphics and the innovative co-op gameplay. The next page dives into the core gameplay of Soulstar, focusing on the player's vehicle, the aggressor, and its cool 3 transformations. Based on the combat situation, the aggressor can switch between a battle machine, a heli, and a walking tank, each with different characteristics and controls. This transformation ability, especially in the 2-player co-op mode, where the sub-player takes on a significant role, adds a layer of strategy to the game. First up is the Sublight Strikecraft, the basic 3D shooting form perfect for space and air combat. In co-op, the sub-pilot handles the main shooting, making things much easier. Next is the Turbo Copter form, which allows for free flight and altitude control within levels, similar to a game like Thunderhawk. With a sub-player, you can split ground and air attacks, which is pretty unique. Finally, there's the Combat Walker, a ground-based mech form. This one is hailed as being irresistible. It has different movement speeds and the weapons change. The 2-player mode splits duties here too, with the main pilot controlling the turret and the sub-pilot handling movement and forward weapons. The page also teases impressive full animation sequences, showing cutscenes with warping ships, dramatic city views, and explosions, hinting at the engaging narrative and presentation. The reviewer is clearly excited by the transformation system and the visual flair. This page jumps into the exciting world of fighting games, specifically focusing on the Mega CD port of Fatal Fury Special. The article highlights that the development is well underway, aiming for a faithful conversion of the arcade hit. It mentions that the game is currently around 80% complete and will feature a total of 15 characters, including iconic figures like Geese Howard and Wolfgang Krauser, who were previously bosses but are now playable. The article then spotlights the series' main protagonists, Terry Bogard and BC Bogard and Joe Higashi. It briefly touches on their fighting styles and significance throughout the Fatal Fury series, mentioning Terry's well-rounded abilities, and Joey's evolving special moves, and Joe's powerful attacks like the Tiger Kick. To put the port into perspective, the page also provides a historical look at the Fatal Fury series, with screenshots from the original Fatal Fury 2, and Fatal Fury Special, demonstrating the visual and gameplay evolution. It even briefly references the King of Fighters 94, showcasing how these characters and mechanics continued to evolve. The reviewer seems optimistic about the quality of the Mega CD port, anticipating a strong fighting game experience with its cast and two-player versus mode. The planned release is in December for 8,800 yen. This page continues the deep dive into the Fatal Fury Special port for the Mega CD, expanding on the impressive character roster. It showcases a host of fan-favorite fighters returning from Fatal Fury 2, each presented with detailed character art and action-packed screenshots from the game. The article introduces veteran fighters like the grappling master Jubei Yamada, the powerful taekwondo expert Kim Kafwan, the wrestling giant Big Bear, the unique drunken fist user Chin Gensai, the iconic ninja Mai Shiranui, and the flashy dancer Duck King. It also highlights the return of Tung Fu Ru, adding another master to the mix. A dedicated section asks if you can master the 4 Heavenly Kings, referring to characters who were bosses in previous games but are now playable, including the staff-wielding Billy Kane, the aggressive boxer Axel Hawk, the bullfighter Lawrence Blood, and the legendary Geese Howard. The final boss, Wolfgang Krauser, is also prominently featured, emphasizing his immense power and presence in the game. The descriptions give insights into each character's strengths and fighting style, suggesting strategy tips for mastering them. Furthermore, the page touches on the King of Fighters 94, referencing the continued evolution of these characters within Stock's expanding fighting game universe. Excitingly, the page reveals that Samurai Spirits, known internationally as Samurai Showdown, is also currently in production for the Mega CD, promising another high-quality fighting game port for the system. The reviewer expresses anticipation for the sound quality of this upcoming title. Da Feng Shen Den, a Mega CD RPG based on Feng Shen Yanyi, is nearing completion, 80%. The game features a dramatic narrative, focusing on character relationships, accessible to both fans and newcomers. Players assume the role of Tai Gong Wang, a 3,000-year-old strategist. Key characters like Nezha, Kintaku, Bukichi, Sen Gyoku, and King Zhao are introduced, with accompanying artwork and descriptions. Gameplay previews include a detailed overworld map and a semi-automatic battle system, where characters act independently unless instructed. Battle screens show character sprites, status information, and a command menu, with options like attack, immortal arts, and a unique persuade/retreat jewel command. A command wait time system further influences battle progression. This page features a preview of Dragon Slayer, The Legend of Heroes 2 on the Sega Mega Drive, the 5th entry in the MegaDrive project. Set 2 decades after the first game, this sequel puts players in the shoes of Atlas, the son of King Celius from the original. The game maintains a familiar system, making it approachable for newcomers, while bringing back characters familiar to fans of the first installment. The story section details the era of peace following the defeat of the demon god Agnide Karagor, and introduces Atlas's carefree upbringing, contrasting with his advisor Lawful's attempts to instill discipline. Despite warnings, Atlas ventures out, leading to early gameplay moments shown in screenshots. A returning element from the first game is the slag bullying activity, presented with its own screen and described as something even King Celius enjoyed. Screenshots throughout the page showcase various aspects of the game, including map movement, character interactions, the unique slag bullying screen, and glimpses of early locations like Ludia Town, Cool's Village, Belgamine, and Neriaport, hinting at the adventure ahead. This page continues the MegaDrive project series, featuring the story of Thor, a successor of the Light. This action RPG from Ancient is highlighted as demonstrating how far the genre has evolved on the Mega Drive since its debut on the console 5 years prior. The article introduces Ancient, led by Yuzo Koshiro, noting their experience despite being a young company and praising their staff's low average age for generating innovative ideas. It emphasizes the game's striking visuals, particularly the large, dynamically animated characters that fill the screen. The page presents the protagonist, Ali, Ruo, and his rival, Gwyn, alongside several elemental spirits players can utilize: Ifrit, fire; Ditto, water; Shade, shadow; and Bow, plant. Screenshots show gameplay demonstrating the dynamic character movement and combat. A brief story summary mentions a great war involving the Master of Gold and Master of Silver rings, and the disappearance of their power-granting rings after a final battle. The article concludes by expressing anticipation for Ancient's future creations. This page dives deeper into the gameplay mechanics of Beyond Oasis, highlighting its strong action elements. Unlike many action RPGs of the time where action was secondary to the story, Beyond Oasis makes combat a core, enjoyable experience. The protagonist, Ali, is incredibly versatile, capable of wielding multiple weapons categorized into 4 distinct types, and even executing special moves with command inputs reminiscent of fighting games. The page shows screens for selecting weapons, using items, checking your status, and viewing the map of the island. Ali utilizes 4 primary weapon types: the standard short sword with unlimited use but limited range, the long sword offering greater range and power at the cost of durability, the bow and arrow for ranged attacks with various arrow types, and the bomb, effective for hitting surrounding enemies. Furthermore, Ali, as the wielder of the gold armlet, can summon elemental spirits to aid him. The page introduces 2 spirits: Ditto, the water spirit, who can heal Ali and stop enemies, and Ifrit, the fire spirit, who delivers powerful attacks and can even send enemies flying. Summoning spirits involves directing light from the armlet towards water or fire sources, showcasing a unique interaction with the environment. Beyond Oasis's story begins with Ali finding a powerful gold armlet on an island. Returning to his village, he discovers it under siege by monsters and knights. The elder suspects these attackers are after Ali and the armlet, threatening the nearby castle. Ali journeys to the castle, facing enemies and meeting the king and princess. The king directs Ali to the water shrine for help from the water spirit, Ditto, while the princess provides healing. Gathering information from villagers is also crucial. A development commentary touches on the game's evolution from a medieval European concept to a distinct fantasy setting and the technical challenges of animating pixel art. The page highlights the initial plot points, Ali's quest to understand the armlet, and the possibility of learning special moves from ancient texts. This page continues the report on the MegaDrive project, known internationally as Beyond Oasis. It picks up after the previous page's discussion of the water shrine. The journey to the shrine is fraught with unique enemies, including dancing rats and challenging knights. Players use the red key from the king to enter the water shrine, facing simple yet interesting monsters and puzzles, culminating in a strong boss fight. Following the water shrine, the hero Ali returns to Poseidonia Castle and is directed to the waterfall shrine. This location features more complex puzzles involving tiles and wall-mounted fire traps. The boss lurking within is the formidable Skull Demon. The page also introduces the next spirit, Ifrit, the fire spirit, who aids Ali in his quest. Developer commentary sections, labeled Staff Talks About Story of Thor, reveal interesting behind-the-scenes details. It's noted that the water spirit Ditto was originally conceived as an owl before her current ethereal design. Another segment highlights smaller, non-essential details that add charm, such as interactive elements like jumping fish that can become healing items if defeated, and the amusing reaction of rats when you step on their tails. This page continues the look at the MegaDrive project, showcasing more upcoming role-playing titles. First up is Surging Aura, presented as a major RPG work. The report summarizes previously released information, focusing on the unique spellcast system and the real-time battle system. Understanding these mechanics is key to success. The article highlights important characters who appear in the opening sequence, including the protagonist Munu, the wandering swordsman Balam, and the mysterious female swordsman Silk, hinting at their crucial roles. Screenshots display the game's battle interface and characters. Next, the page features After Armageddon Gaiden, Eclipse, a hard RPG currently in development for the Mega CDs. This game offers a truly distinct premise. Humanity has been reduced to servants of demons after a catastrophic event. The story centers not on humans, but on 5 demons, whose fates are interwoven.
The narrative begins with these 5 demons visiting King Volzark.
Screenshots depict the world map and side-view battle scenes, showcasing the demonic cast in this harsh new world. The article notes that while humans aren't the main characters, they do appear, emphasizing the game's unusual perspective. Sega's Game Gear is slated to receive several major releases before year's end. Moldrian, a deep RPG with a real-time battle system and a cute heroine, is highlighted. Takara's Fatal Fury Special and Samurai Showdown, both fighting games playable via the communication cable, aim to replicate their console counterparts. Sonic the Hedgehog, Triple Trouble introduces pseudo 3D stages and new characters, significantly expanding the Game Gear experience. Other upcoming titles, like Puyo Puyo 2 and RPGS, are also mentioned. This article focuses on the Pioneer Laseractive and its Mega LD library, expanding from 2 to 3 pages to delve deeper into the software. A potential giveaway of CLDA 100 units is also mentioned. Highlights include the upcoming Mega LD release of Myst, a popular adventure game with stunning graphics. Blue Chicago Blues, an interactive movie from Riverhill Soft, is also confirmed for Mega LD, potentially hinting at future localized interactive experiences. Finally, a review of Doradora Paradise, a mahjong game, is included, praising its immersive gameplay and the appealing female characters, despite less explicit video content compared to a PC version. All 3 titles are presented as must-haves for Laseractive users. The next page delves further into the Laseractive's Lildrum Squared software library. We see Ghost Rush, a first-person adventure shooter from Pioneer where you explore, battle ghosts for points, and manage items, presented as a game with simple core mechanics but offering more depth through exploration and interaction. The results of a monster naming contest are also announced, revealing 2 winning names.
Next up is Dr.
Palo no Todioki Video, an interactive title described as a visual persuasion psychological test, notable for its 3D viewing option and featuring 6 different women within its content. It is also the Beauty Illusion Collection featuring Yuko Sakamoto,
which allows users to edit and create photo albums while searching for hidden images, adding a game-like element to the interactive photo collection.
Finally,
Vajura 2 is showcased, a 3D shooting game that builds on its predecessor's system but adds variety with elements like high-speed scrolling sections and impressive, evolving environmental graphics across its 6 stages. These titles highlight the diverse range of experiences available on the Laseractive platform, from action and adventure to interactive video and visual collections. The next page features a report on a BeepMD special project, a factory tour showing how Laseractive software was made. Readers were taken to Pioneer's factory in Yamanashi Prefecture to witness the production process of LA software, Laserdiscs. The report covers the mastering process, where video and audio signals are transferred onto the original disc master, highlighting the extremely clean environment required. It then moves to the replication process, showing how discs are mass-produced from the master and packaged into jackets, describing a futuristic, automated factory floor. A brief illustrated guide explains the 4 core steps of Laserdisc manufacturing, from preparing the master disc to pressing and layering the final product. The report also includes notes on the tour experience itself, mentioning activities like a video introduction, a quiz contest, and interaction among participants. Finally, for readers who couldn't attend, there's an offer to win one of 2 Pioneer CLDA 100 Laseractive players by applying via mail. The photos accompanying the text show the participants, different stages of the factory process, and the Laseractive player offered as a gift. This page provides fascinating insight into the physical creation of the Laseractive titles discussed previously. This page is dedicated to the BeepMD Secret Technique League, showcasing reader-submitted cheats and secrets for Sega Mega Drive games. It features tricks for several titles, including a sound test and scenario select for Langrisser 2, a stage select and other options for Echo, the Tides of Time, hidden passwords for the Third World War unlocking various graphics and endings, and a hidden level and invincibility for RoboCop vs. the Terminator. The page also includes a call for readers to submit their own Mega Drive, Mega CD, and Game Gear cheats, offering prizes like software, book vouchers, and special phone cards for those whose submissions are featured. This page dives into the secrets of Mortal Kombat 2, taking a break from the usual rescue missions to offer a special feature. It promises to reveal the ultimate finishing moves, hidden commands,
and the conditions required to challenge the 3 hidden characters. The focus is heavily on the finishing moves, fatalities, friendships, babalities, and pit/spike fatalities. Fatalities are performed when the finish him/her message appears, with each character having multiple variations. Friendship and babality moves are also performed at the end of the second round win, requiring specific inputs while only pressing the punch button, and are noted as being easier to execute than fatalities. The page also details how to perform pit/spike and Deadpool fatalities, which are specific to certain stages and require close-range inputs when the opponent is defeated. The page includes command lists for several characters, such as Liu Kang, Johnny Cage, Scorpion, and Shang Tsung, detailing their fatalities, friendships, babalities, and stage fatalities. It's important to note that these commands are listed for when the character is facing right and must be reversed when facing left. The section provides a valuable guide for players looking to master the game's finishing techniques. The page includes screenshots demonstrating these various finishes and character portraits. This page continues the deep dive into Mortal Kombat 2, providing detailed command lists for several more characters. It shows the special moves and the all-important finishing moves, including fatalities, friendships, babalities, and stages-specific pit/spike fatalities for characters like Kung Lao, Sub-Zero, Reptile, Kitana, Jax, Milena, Baraka, and Raiden. Following this, the page shifts to discuss the game's hidden characters, asking if the player knew they existed just like Reptile in the first game. It specifically reveals the conditions needed to challenge 3 hidden fighters, Noob Saibot, Smoke, and Jade, offering details on how to encounter these elusive characters. The guide focuses on empowering players to discover these secrets and master the game's full roster and finishing techniques. This page brings the focus to the Neo Geo system, featuring the return of the beloved weapon-based fighting series with Samurai Shodown 2. The article highlights key changes from the first game, including new evasion and rolling mechanics, tweaks to weapon durability, and the impact of the rage gauge on combat. It also formally introduces the 4 new fighters who join the roster, bringing the total character count to 15. Further down, the King of Fighters 94 is featured, presenting a comprehensive list of the super moves for each character, along with the specific button combinations required to execute them. A small section on the right promotes a new RGB/S video output unit available for the Neo Geo, designed to enhance the visual quality for players who already own the system. Below this, winners of a Fatal Fury poster contest are announced. Finally, the page recommends playing Aero Fighters 2, a fast-paced vertical shooter noted for its challenging difficulty curve, particularly after Stage 8. This page features the Reader Presents for the November 1994 issue, giving fans a chance to win some cool Sega gear. The main prize allowed winners to choose any Mega Drive, Sega CD, or Game Gear game released by November 7th, with screenshots of Sonic the Hedgehog and Shining Force 2 highlighting the possibilities. Other prizes included a Sega game illustration book showcasing artwork from titles like Mortal Kombat, and items based on the fighting game Darkstalkers, known as Vampire here, such as playing cards and a t-shirt. Players of Mortal Kombat 2 could win a useful pencil board, and fans of Langrisser 2 had a chance at a special telephone card. The application deadline was November 7th. The page also includes information on the upcoming Sega Saturn launch, mentioning Virtua Fighter, and the planned release of a new Sega Saturn magazine by the staff on November 8th, showing the excitement building for the next generation. Contact information for magazine questions is provided, alongside a list of the publication's staff and recruitment details. This page announces a significant change for the company previously known as Tengen in Japan. Following the lead of their Uris head office, Atari Games/Tengen, the Japanese branch is changing its name to Time Warner Interactive Inc. This marks the end of the Tengen name's era, which ran from 1988 to 1994, as they look towards future development. The page showcases 2 upcoming titles from the newly named Time Warner Interactive. First up is Tama, an interactive action puzzle game planned for simultaneous release with the Sega Saturn console and a December 1994 release on PlayStation. The screenshot shows an isometric 3D world with characters moving through a maze-like structure. Also featured is Race Drivin', a simulation driving game known from arcades, also slated for a Sega Saturn launch alongside the console, with the PlayStation release date still undecided. Both games are shown using developmental screenshots, highlighting the company's move to the next generation of consoles, promising continued engaging titles under their new identity. This page continues the introduction of Time Warner Interactive, the new name for the company formerly known as Tenjin in Japan. It highlights their brand new vision starting in 1994 and looking towards the future.
Featured on this page is the upcoming Sega Saturn port of Sega's iconic arcade racer, Virtua Racing. The screenshot shows the familiar low-polygon F1 cars speeding around a track, promoting the game as an ultra-high-speed racing experience finally coming to next-generation hardware. It notes that the Sega Saturn version is currently under development, with both the release date and price still undecided. The page also includes contact information for Time Warner Interactive in Japan. The next page is a vibrant spread featuring 2 action-packed Yu Yu Hakusho games on Sega platforms. Front and center is the Sega Mega Drive title, Yu Yu Hakusho, Makyo Toitsusen, from the renowned developer Treasure. This game was revolutionary for its time, offering simultaneous 4-player fighting action with the Sega Tap peripheral. It features the core cast like Yusuke, Kuwabara, Hiei, and Kurama, plus introduces characters from later arcs such as Sensui and Tree, bringing the intense series battles to life. This highly rated action game was available for 8,800 yen. The page also highlights Yu Yu Hakusho 2, Gekitu Nanajin no Tatakai for the Game Gear. This portable entry shifts to a one-on-one front view perspective, focusing on strategic combat with distinct attack, defense, and special move options, utilizing a spirit power gauge. It features familiar characters engaging in heated duels on the go, providing powerful visual action. This Game Gear title was available for 3,800 yen. Additionally, the page promotes Sega's hardware lineup, showcasing the more compact Mega Drive 2 and the portable Game Gear, emphasizing its color display. There's even a mention of a Game Gear bundle packaged with the soccer game J-League GG Pro Striker 94. This page effectively promotes the popular Yu Yu Hakusho franchise across Sega's console and handheld, highlighting key features like multiplayer action and portable gaming, while also featuring the hardware itself. Publication details indicate it's the November 1994 issue, priced at 540 yen.